I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
You know what? I talked to your mayor.
That umbrella guy is black, getting extortion letters from a wannabe lawyer, extorting his social betters, crying, don't laugh at me, or you know what I'll do. I'll sue, yeah, sue, and sue, no really, I'll sue. I heard you the first, second, and fifth time. So you hate Legos and thumbnails and names being used. Unless you say it's okay, then it's relevant news. You demanded coverage as a fan, but only your way. Then your panties twisted when I didn't mind what you say. Then you went online and said the unspoken part aloud about the bar and your image. Oopsie, aren't you proud? And I get we didn't love, then you're really mad. But remember, on this hat rack, I'm not your dad. I don't owe you respect or coverage or applause or shouts. And if that triggers your boss, I guess you found out. You're like a bitter ex-girlfriend that just won't take no. So listen up, baby, you can't get on my show. And defamation, please, for insulting your skills. I wouldn't let you open my kids' Happy Meals. That's right. I'm saying you don't have the skills of a grocery checker, because I respect grocery checkers. But any dog can chase an ambulance and bark at passing cars. You didn't get your way, so you thrash about like a petulant child. But again, I'm not your daddy, at least not that kind of daddy. But I kinda am your daddy, so get trekking, son.
So get trekking, son. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was so good.
I love that one. That one was pretty funny, I thought. I was like, yeah, that's nice. It is. By the way, people don't realize, like that first letter that was sent out, he was a fan. He was a fan. It always starts that way, doesn't it?
It's always the fans. I used to be a fan of your show. Until you, XYZ, PD.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, you weren't. You were never here. You were never here. I pay enough attention that I would have noticed. Like anytime I look at something, it's like a black hole and I fall asleep, I would notice that. Oh my God. Let me pull up the chat here. We have had a crazy day, haven't we, Megan?
We have had quite the day. We woke up to quite a missive in the inbox, the old inbox, as they say. Yes,
I was like, man, we were told that essentially, I guess I'll just spill the beans and then we'll go forward with it, that we are going to get sued if we do not denounce Jeremy the Hales. So,
well, actually, it was actually a little bit different than that. It was more like, if you stop talking, if you stop using your First Amendment rights and you stop giving your opinions online, then you won't get sued. But I'm not saying you're going to get sued if you don't stop. I'm just saying you definitely won't get sued if you stop.
Yeah. And by the way, don't make fun of me. Don't call me an ambulance chaser, and don't say I don't have clients. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God,
yes,
it's so insane. But
so-
we have to weigh this very carefully, though, Tug. We have to decide: are we going to drop Jeremy Hales? Are we going to stop talking about this public interest story?
Well, you know, I actually prepared a statement for that because I thought, well, that's such a good offer. You know, I'll let me pull this up here. Let me say.
You have a prepared statement?
Yeah, it's
That's right.
Dear Bruce, go fuck yourself. Oh, there we go. There, wasn't that good?
Go fuck yourself.
I liked it.
But
yes, very
go
much.
Fuck yourself.
Oh my God, dear Bruce, fuck off. I almost wrote back. I almost hit reply and said, fuck you, Bruce.
I came very close to it, and I thought, nope, I will address it live like everything else. This letter told me a lot of things. I actually don't think he intended to tell me. It told me, hey, we'll go through it, and I'll point out a couple of things. I like to, you know, there's the, I was mentioning this to Megan before, and it's fascinating. My name's out there, so I'm not redacting my name off of, you know, off of these letters, because I don't really care. Actually, I need to redact one thing, you know. I'm going to redact those.
Yeah, but
I'm
when
going to
he
redact
sent it to you,
the picture of
this,
fate, you know.
This letter that we got from him was addressed to me, to Megan, and Matt. And I'm like, who the fuck is Matt?
You know what's bad is I'm like,
I don't even know who he's talking about.
I get like, when I saw it, I was like, is there somebody else? Oh, wait, that's to me.
That's me.
It's like, okay. But you know, the people who do that, they're always bad faith. It's always a, I know who you are. And it's like, cool, I know who I am too, but I bet you don't know who you are, you know? Because otherwise, a slimy person wouldn't be contacting me.
Oh, I should have. Brad just reminded me that I should have put Bruce's letter into AI to the tune of a Disney villain and added him to my musical. Damn it!
You should have.
Dear Mr. Bruce,
you know what?
Esquire.
You still have time. There's still plenty of time.
It's true. I have time. I could just enter it in.
Okay. I'm redacting those. You know, there were pictures sent to me, and until I want to show them to a court to prove that apparently we're allowed to cover this, but we're not allowed to cover it if we have our own
with our own opinions. We are only allowed to cover this story with Bruce's approved opinions.
But this is the bad faith thing. Okay, you can see this happen through letters. It always happens this way. Here's the first one he wrote me back when. This is from April. You notice it's addressed to Tug. Now you notice, as I didn't know this was here. I would think it'd be funny to say, but I didn't. I actually didn't see it. There was a lot of stuff going on. Talked about all the crazy yesterday, so you can see why I would miss emails. You know, but yeah, afterwards they become Mr. Lewis, and then they become, you know, as they go forward, they become, in the last one, very familiar, like we're pals, you know, like we're sipping out of the same Stanley straw.
First name. Oh dear Jesus! Don't go near that Stanley straw. Oh no.
I was just taking a drink.
Wait,
I wasn't talking about
Go back to the first one. Go back to the first one. I wanted to read that one.
Yeah, we'll look at them all, actually, because I've never talked about all of them. You know, I figure if I'm going to get threats and everything, sure, you know. Let's just talk about
I never saw this one.
Yeah. He's actually, I've never shown two of these. You know, I've discussed them, but typically I will not pull up an email. I don't care if you're a detractor, but if some jackass wants to send me threats about stuff, okay, well, I'm going to put it on record that this person contacted me and wanted me to cover this stuff. And since they're making contact with me, yeah, I'm allowed to look and see exactly who this person is, you know, and I'm allowed to have opinions or draw inference. Like, for example, somebody sits on a live stream 4 to 9 hours a day, plus they write monster emails and everything else. I'm allowed to infer from that maybe they don't have a lot of clients. But if they do, maybe they're not putting a lot of time into those things.
Look, I know a lot of lawyers. and working lawyers who have many clients do not have 9 hours in a day or 4 hours in a day to sit on a live stream with a bunch of yahoos who need to stop eating butter for 4 to 6 to 8 to 9 hours a day. They just don't. My sister's an attorney. She barely has 15 minutes to talk to me. She like bills me for my time. I swear to God, she bills me for the time I take talking to her. She's like, I can't talk to you right now. I can't give you
the sister discount.
Yeah, right. She's like, that'll be $50, please. Send it to my Venmo. No, I mean, they don't. Working lawyers who have multiple cases going, they don't have that kind of time. I call bullshit, Bruce. I say, open up your caseload then. Let's see, what are the cases that you're currently working on? And we'll take it all back. We'll take it back and say, oh, he's a really busy guy. Just somehow he's like, I've got 8 hours clients in the middle of the day.
Oh my God. So did you notice too, in the new letter from talking about his clients, he listed Miss Preston, he listed Mr. Bang Bang, and he also listed the child. They're his client. I was like, it threw me when I saw the
so he's got
initials.
3 clients, all on the same household.
Yeah, so maybe he's like, I got 3 clients. What do you mean no clients? You know, I imagine, and these people need to understand this. I imagine the people he live streams with, they're telling him, there's no problem. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, you remember, like, that puts you on the hook for a lot of money. And these people are opening up. Like, all this BS litigation, if it swings your way, you can be 100% in the right, but you got to be able to afford it, you know? And I know it's a small channel. Like I said, I dealt with somebody that was going to be very litigious when I had under 10,000 subscribers. And yeah, not very easy to deal with. Not very easy at all.
I've never read this. I like this part here that says Megan Fox's original PJ Media article is so inaccurate about the legal issues, and amazingly, even lawyers like Larry Foreman say the same nonsense. That should give him his first clue that my article wasn't inaccurate, if lawyers are agreeing with me, first of all. And that, i.e., that the 6th Amendment or the 4th Amendment apply to the case before Judge DeThomasis. Well, for one, I don't think I said the 4th Amendment applied, although I think you could look at it that way, because an illegal search or seizure, if his guns were seized from him, that would have been a 4th Amendment issue, because he didn't have his due process.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
But
Larry, I think, said something on it. But you know what's fascinating about
Larry
this?
did. Larry made a case that he had his Second Amendment rights violated, his First Amendment rights violated, and the 6th and the 4th too, in relation the fourth to the seizure of the guns. Now, I don't know if that ever happened. So if it didn't happen, then obviously there's no 4th Amendment issue. But the 6th Amendment, yeah, he absolutely, his rights were violated there. The 6th Amendment is the right to a speedy trial and the right to face your accuser. He never had the right in that courthouse to face his accuser and actually give his story and his defense to it, because that judge kept him from doing it. He also didn't get his right to a speedy trial because they kept on kicking the can down the road for almost an entire year.
Yep.
So no, I will take this any day. I will take this fight. This is absolutely bullshit what he's saying here.
Let's just read this, and I'll address certain things out of it first. Tug, serious question. What are you and DUI Guy, Megan Fox, Legal Vices, Legally Live, MG Law, all doing the exact same thing? I didn't realize we were doing that. And we're not
all doing the same thing.
Have even one person on your webcast to offer a different perspective. Actually, everyone has their own perspective.
Everyone has a different perspective.
Yeah. So, I mean,
every single person. And in fact, Legal Vices and MG Law have both been critical of some of Jeremy's opinions and some of things that Jeremy's done. I've heard both of them say, like, all right, I think that this is kind of antagonistic, or I think that they're both, and Legal Vices has said many times, I think it takes 2 to tango. I think these bad neighbor stories, I think that both parties are at fault in some way. But that really wasn't why Jeff was covering it. He was covering it for what was going on in the courtroom in the first place. He doesn't give a shit what's going on between the parties.
He was covering the grudge judge. And a lot of times, too, a lot of people, it was so crazy that a lot of people didn't see number one, how things had transpired. But number two, they didn't hear a sheriff. See, most people don't think, if I never heard this, I wouldn't think this either, that the law enforcement was saying, if you don't video, it doesn't happen. That was their stance.
That was insane.
Yeah. And most people, like, you wouldn't think that there. So a lot of people, when they see recordings and other things, they don't realize this is to protect yourself. Because
they've, like, in the one, even though he had the video the one time of John pulling a gun on him, they then said, well, because you videoed, you weren't afraid for your life. Yeah. That was insane. But, I mean,
we have many differing opinions, like I said, and it depends on what aspect that you're looking at with this stuff. Hey, by the way, props, Jeremy. Yes, he's telling us pretty much. I'm gonna sue you. You can see. Oh my God, this is gonna be. I'm not surprised by it in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not going to drop. I think this is a relevant story. Not only that, the action that I've been talking about, that Jeremy has been posting, with all that, that's her action. So she brought it. And
yeah, she brought it. She brought a public case making a bunch of nutso allegations against a very popular YouTuber. We looked into it and found that, oh my God, she doesn't have any evidence for this. All of her evidence is his freedom of speech, is his right to say these things. He has a right to have a negative opinion of his neighbor. He has a right to talk about it on YouTube. Yeah. End of story, period. The end. Right it's not harassment, period.
Well, he has a right to video as long as it's not in certain places. I mean, she has her property, but if it's in public areas, it's his property, it's the road. I mean,
right.
That stuff's there. So anyway, such as a lawyer who can engage in actual legal analysis.
Oh, I've had lots of those on my show. Lots of them.
Yeah, but who's he talking about? Oh,
he wants him. He's the only lawyer. So it doesn't matter that I have spoken to Viva Fry about this, who's a lawyer.
Or is it Fry? I keep calling him Frey, man.
I know. I always say Frey too, and then people told me it was Fry. So now I always want to say Frey first, and then I say Fry. It's really embarrassing because it's like I don't know his name, but I never did. I always said Frey, but it's not Frey. It's Fry. Viva Fry. So I've shown it to Barnes. And Robert Barnes, by any stretch, is a decent lawyer. Who else has looked at it? So DUI guy has looked at it. We've had Legal Vices has looked at it. Now, it's not like these people do not get together and just decide, here's what Ian Runkles talked about it. And frankly, I don't think I ever had a conversation with Ian about it. I just know that he got interested in one aspect of it and he talked about it. Like, Ian is pretty separated from us. Like, he doesn't, I mean, he's just busy with his own stuff. I mean, it's not like we're having conversations behind the scenes or anything. Like, Runkle got a hold of something and decided to talk about it, and he had his opinion, and he said he agreed that this judge is insane.
There's this weird thing, too, like this idea of communications, like we're all communicating or something. I have had more communications come from Bruce in my mailbox than I've had with, I'm going to say, between yourself and Larry. Like, if I communicate with Larry, it's usually like a one sentence thing. Like, yo, man, you want to come on? Or, hey, man, did you know you got sued? Something like that.
Right.
We usually have our conversations live. And that's just, now Megan's more, I talk, or like she's more outgoing. Like me, I'm just like, this is my box. I'm here. But
you're probably the one I talk to the most. I mean, outside of YouTube, the rest of them, I mean, we're not in regular communication. I mean, I guess Jeff and I are, but we're not planning shows or, hey, what are you going to talk about? Oh, I have the same opinion. We don't do that at all. We share documents sometimes, but that's about it. Like, nobody is saying, no one is behind the scenes going, so what's the party line we're going to toe on this story? That's insane. Everybody has their own opinion, and sometimes we disagree. Sometimes, people, the lawyers that I know, we disagree on stuff. But we talk, we don't talk behind the scenes about this stuff.
People want to see that, man. Again, like, with the stuff with Hale. Look at that freaking hellstorm that caused.
What a hellstorm.
And if people think that, there's a lot of agreement, no.
No, there's no agreement.
There's no consensus really on anything. A lot of trials. Look at Depp until we had the trial, just with documentation. Many people, they wondered about it. And then the trial is like, whoa. But, any of these where people were not. Anyway, let's continue this one. It's all the same. Watching videos of hearings, making silly jokes to pander to all the Hales fans, not ever acknowledging anything negative with respect to Hales.
False.
The hearings, though, I wonder why we would be joking about the stuff that comes up with Miss Preston and others, because they are absolute gems. They are hilariously awful shit.
That reminds me. So let's go. I actually have something great for this. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I have a compilation video that I made. Oh, why am I signed out of... I'm signed out of YouTube. Why am I signed out of YouTube? Okay, I got to sign back in.
Because you're crazy, Megan.
I don't know why I'm signed out of YouTube. I'm never signed out of YouTube.
Let me note this too. There is a new letter where I'm just, since I've not talked about all these. Again, I don't really like it. Bruce has crossed many lines. He crossed a line today, and I'll go over it. Actually, it says a lot to me. So I feel no need and it's not about suing. It's about something else. And I'll note that when we get there. But yeah, anyway.
All right. So and just so you guys know, there's a new letter. We both woke up to a threat letter this morning from Bruce. This is my first threat letter. I think it's Tug's second actual threat letter, maybe more. I'm not sure, because he never went over all the ones that he had. But here, just so we remind you guys why we watched the hearings, this is a great little video. It is 9 minutes. We don't have to play the whole thing, but it does get increasingly hilarious as it goes on.
Let's play some of it. Let's see.
Okay, wait. We have no.
Just audio was proper or improper. Do you agree that it has been broadcast to your client's channel? You have to answer for that. Did you tell me? Have you done anything? And has it been successful? Would you agree they've been unsuccessful until today? In the context of this rule of safeguarding in the attorney's responsibility. Now, it is being posted on
Give him an Oscar.
Took the case and said he couldn't be ready because he only had 24 hours and 20 minutes. And this court again accommodated the response. I want you to keep that context.
He's like, oh my God.
Court's taking 12 minutes of your time. 2 minutes, your motion. That's first on the docket.
Oh, well, I'll give him the keys to the frickin' city if that's what he wants. I'll give him the gold medal. I'll give him the silver star for going over the entire damn record again in 12 minutes, which again is 12 minutes. This is going to be billed to Hale's 12 minutes, which did not need to be spent. In fact, this hearing could have been concluded in 12 minutes.
Oh my God.
Not an hour and 27 minutes.
She spent 40 years almost on a daily basis in a courtroom. Could have done that in 15 minutes. But in that context,
oh, here he goes.
Current counsel, Mr. Shaw, took the case.
It's like Inception, watching Megan with Megan.
The flying arm motions, but there it is. Everything's 15 minutes. He's like,
co-counsel.
You have this posted?
Feather.
Yeah.
In that context,
Why don't you link it in the chat?
All right.
Mark Feather.
In that context, and he didn't even address whether he was going to call his client and or maybe forgot whether he was going to make legal arguments in court. There was no way anyone, after this judge has spent 40 years almost on a daily basis in a courtroom, could have done that in 15
Look at
minutes.
Jeff's face.
You know what? He didn't say he was going to do that in 15 minutes. Again, it's a misrepresentation of the record. It's a blatant misrepresentation of what was said. Judge, you need to go back there and read your own damn transcript, or go back and watch the hearing because that is not what happened. And continuing to say that that is what happened does not make it so and will not make it so. Again, Judge, you should
All
be
of this music
ashamed
is
of yourself
copyright
for
free,
this
by the way.
misrepresentation. And then to attack them
Yeah.
for misrepresenting when that's all you've done is misrepresent
It won't get you in trouble.
what the Hale's attorney
that
said.
before.
This is infuriating.
This part where he's arguing against her memorandum, that is the job of Silverman. If Silverman feels that his reputation is being besmirched by a memorandum of law that was put into the court, it's his job to stand up and say, Judge, I object, and here's why this is wrong, and defend his own honor. The judge is about to do it for him. He is becoming the plaintiff's co-counsel.
Yep.
Right now, he is litigating from the bench, Larry. I just came up with that today. You know, we see the legislating from the bench. This dude is litigating from the bench.
That's
Very
true.
He's not supposed to be an attorney. He is about to argue this motion for the plaintiff.
My
Watch
hair looked
this.
really good
It's
there.
incredible.
It was a
I like
good
that
hair
just
day.
pull from all that.
For
My hair.
counsel to describe the actions of an attorney who steps in with a limited notice, trying to address the
It just
limited
looks-
issue of the calendaring.
It looks
of
like a
the
train is hitting
counsel.
me. It's like, oh my God,
It's already
what's happening?
I can't be here, but you allow me to be heard.
I thought he had 2 weeks to prepare for this. Am I confused? I thought Silverman had like 2 weeks to prepare for this hearing. And now he wants the continuance. And I get the judge did exactly what I suspected he was doing once he started talking and got a few words out of his mouth. He is saying, how dare you do this to Silverman when you did this already once? Totally different circumstances, totally different situations, totally different reasons. Judge, shame on you.
Current respondent's counsel when he needed a continuance because he said he couldn't be prepared because he got into the case knowing the case was scheduled, and he came in as co-counsel to a lawyer that told this court on November 29, somewhere between 4:50 p.m. and 5 p.m., Judge, I only need about 15 more minutes.
Oh my Christ, he's going up on this. He's hitting all the buttons today. He's hitting the 25 hours and 20 minutes. He's hitting the scheduling date. He's hitting, oh my God, he's hitting every single one of these issues. The
I know.
15 minutes. What the hell does this have to do with anything, Judge? Nothing. Why is he even talking about this 15-minute shit again? It has absolutely zero relevance. And again, it's misrepresented.
Subscribe to
Hey,
Legal
pause
Vice.
it.
He
a
loves
second.
saying the exact time
Hey, wait,
that things
let me
get filed.
stop.
8
Hold
to
on.
12 p.m.
Yeah, wait. There.
Yeah, with this stuff, actually, what would be interesting one day is to go through and discuss some of what's happening, because there are a lot of people that don't know, like they didn't see it. They come in later on, and they hear the detractors talk about this stuff, and they're like, oh, well, there are a lot of videos there. And so they haven't seen the madness. And it is madness.
Yeah, and it is madness. And we are not the only ones saying it. Like other Legal Vices did this watched all the hearings on his own on his channel because he was interested in it. And I mean, if you want to watch the greatest coverage of this, I'm actually going to tell you, I think it was Legal Vices. I mean, Larry's is good too, but Legal Vices I love because he's so even keel. It takes a lot to get Jeff worked up and to get angry.
Yeah,
so if Jeff's worked up about something, there's a really good reason. We're not just being dramatic. This judge is the most pontificating, full of himself windbag you've ever seen on a bench, and he has no business being there. No business at all.
I've never seen a judge that I thought was the legal representation of one of the people that was out there. I thought, my God, like this is insane. Anyway, let's not review the whole
Frankly,
thing.
you know what else? Is that it didn't do Lynette any favors either. Let's be totally honest. The judge being completely biased and one-sided toward Lynette did her no favors. It actually made the public perception of her worse.
Yep.
So it actually did neither party any good what this guy did.
No, and I mean, it was crazy to see the lengths that Jeremy Hales had to go to actually address the fact that this guy, the way he was acting, you had an appeals court come in and talk about it, for God's sake. So, you know, you don't have to take our word on it. Take the appeals court. I mean, do they count? But apparently, you know, even the appeals court, apparently, their opinion, I guess they're just like us. We needed a knowledgeable lawyer to tell us what's happening.
Yeah, and I have had knowledgeable lawyers tell me. MG Law is a very knowledgeable lawyer. Jeff at Legal Vices is a very knowledgeable lawyer. I have talked to both of them and others about this case. And everybody is in agreement, including the appeals court in Florida, that this judge is a biased, unlawful actor in this case. So I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. Do you want to switch
Let's
and
look
go back?
at the letter, because I'll forget what we're doing.
But I did want to just point out. I just wanted to point out.
No, it's good.
This
Actually,
about the judge and what the judge was doing in court, and that's what got us interested. And too bad for Bruce's client that LawTube got interested in this bad judge. Again, the judge harmed Lynette because he became so interesting that LawTube wanted to cover him.
Well, then you have the accusations aimed towards you. Like, listen to some of this. I mean, Megan Fox's original PJ Media article is so inaccurate about legal issues, and amazingly, even lawyers like Larry Foreman say the same nonsense, i.e. that the Sixth Amendment or Fourth Amendment applied to the case before Judge Thomas's. All of the YouTube coverage started from that.
Yeah, it did start. No, it didn't actually start from. It didn't actually start from Larry. So sometimes these stories, I'll tell you exactly how it started. Sometimes these stories come together in an eye of a hurricane, right? The hurricane's been gathering and gathering out on the outskirts. And then all of a sudden at once, it starts to roil.
It does. And it's like whoosh.
It's like, yeah, it like it's been gathering, right? And then all of a sudden it comes together in this eye, just like a hurricane that you see on the Weather Channel. And the eye of the hurricane then starts to take over. Well, that's what happened here. On the same day that Larry made his first video about this case, the very same day, I got I got several tweets in my DMs about this case from Jeremy Hale's people who watch his channel saying, oh my God, will you please look at this? Because we think that this creator that we like is being railroaded by this bad judge, and we really think LawTube should look at this. Now, I try my hardest to, if the audience wants something, I try to give it to them, right? Yeah. So if there's significant interest from the people who are out there watching, I will look into it. So I tried to look into it. I was like, okay, I go over to Jeremy Hale's channel. I'll never forget this. And I'm looking at this Otter Creek playlist, and I'm like, the fuck?
I was like, where does it start? Then when I first looked, I was like, oh my God.
It started, and I was having the hardest time. And then, like magic, and Larry and I had not talked to each other. I had no idea. I mean, we know each other, but we had not spoken in a while. I think the last time I had talked to Larry, was when I had him on the channel last, which was months before, like probably maybe even a year before. So it's not like Larry and I talked all the time. I may have had a conversation with him when the Nick thing blew up, but like that happened after this, right? Yeah. So yeah, I hadn't talked to Larry in a long time. So he makes this video like the next day, and it was his interview with the Hales, and I was like, oh, thank God, Larry has looked at this, because now I can watch Larry's video and find out what happened here. And sure enough, his first video was like an hour-long interview with them, and he did really good breaking it down from like, okay, wait, explain to me this, explain to me that, and I got the gist of it. Then the next day, Larry, because he's brilliant, he really is, he did a TLDR that was 18 minutes long, summarizing the entire case. And that's when I was like, okay, now I got it. I got a handle on it. And then I started, and in fact, then I think I contacted you, Tug.
Yeah.
I think that's when I contacted you. And I was like, hey.
I had already had the interview to look at. And when I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is actually insane. And what I wanted to do right off the bat, and I wanted to talk to Jeremy Hales. I thought he was, he's a YouTuber. A lot of people have difficulty on the mic. You know, you bring them in, they can't really succinctly explain what's going on. But I thought, hey, talk to him. Let me see. Because I had no idea where to start with this stuff. So the best place to start, you know, the guy who made the videos. When he came in, though, what really struck me with this wasn't him just speaking about it, but him bringing proof. You know, he had quite a bit of proof. You know, he was like, signs, for example. Oh, well, look, yes, here they are. Do you see what they say? And I mean, you know, it was like, holy crap, this is unreal.
And really, from if you watch my very beginning coverage, I was like, I don't care what the problem is between these people. I really don't. I'm interested in this court case because this is some crazy shit I've never seen before. I've never seen a judge. I've never seen a judge do this. Well, Ollie, I said it though because I didn't want to get involved in that because that's messy. Yeah. And it's hard to let's admit it, it's really hard to break down he said, she said stories. Right. And so it's easier to stay out of the personal and stay into what's public in the record, right?
I think
so that's where I started. I started in the record and I was like, holy shit, this guy's being railroaded.
Yeah, period. And her record, you know, her statements, and she hand wrote so many things in there. I mean, you could, you know, she had no filter, no lawyer to be like, hey, you don't want to say that. Hey, this might actually not link up with this other statement. And you got a lot. You got quite a bit. Some things that probably, you know, if she would have had a lawyer again, they would have told her not to say. Because,
oh yeah, her handwritten motions. Larry was the first one to go over those, and I watched all of his coverage. I was watching, listening to him read through those. That was insanity. That was absolute insanity. But yeah, he wants to know, how did we get started? That's how it got started. I watch other YouTubers. I watch LawTubers. I have my favorites. Sometimes I watch Larry. Sometimes it depends on what he's covering, you know. So I watch Ian Runkle. I watch Joe, Good Logic. I watch a lot of different LawTubers when they're covering stuff that I'm interested in. Peter Tragos. Sometimes I get stories from over there. But yeah, I mean, there's no secret to it. But mostly it's the fans who contact me that want me to look into certain things. That's how it usually gets started. I hear that. Do you need to go handle that?
No. They're
for a second I thought it was mine.
They're packing. No, they're packing something, and I heard the oldest tell the youngest, you can't take that, and that's her saying, I can take whatever I want. That's what that is. That's how their arguments go, you know. She's little, so she's loud. And I'm like, well, okay, let's let her. Then she'll win that argument. I can hear her winning right now. The oldest will be like, I give up. This part, though, I thought was, how much of this is orchestrated by Hale's for content? Like, that's a ridiculous statement. Like,
it's totally ridiculous. It's
I've contacted.
Now, wait, but he wants to know, how and why did Megan decide to write that piece? I'm a journalist, Bruce. So when I get onto a story that I think is interesting,
I'll be right back. I am going to.
Yeah, you're going to have to stop that.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll argue.
When I get into a story that I know has public interest and means something to me, that's when I actually want to write about it. And the reason why this story meant something to me was because I cover corruption in court. I cover bad judges. So when I come across a story of a bad judge acting with total disregard for the law, on camera with no fucks given, I am absolutely going to write that. I am going to write that all day long. I'm going to follow that to the very end. I looked at the facts of this case. I looked at what Jeremy Hales was allegedly to have done to this woman for this harassment order to have been entered against him on a temporary basis. And I realized it's all bullshit. This man's First Amendment rights were taken away by a judge who was overzealous, who wanted to make case law. He made it very clear that with that butt love case, he wanted to be the first judge to put butt love into practice in a courtroom. Well, he didn't read, though, that they had to reshape that because butt love was poorly written in the first place. So I absolutely had a newsworthy reason to write that article. And if he had just asked me, what made you write the article? I would have told him, because this judge is a menace. And guess what? The Florida Appellate Court agrees. Yeah, I said butt love. It's Bud Love, but we call it butt love because that's funnier.
Yep, it sounds.
Because when he says it, it sounds
right.
like he's saying butt love. It's Bud with a D, Bud Love, which is a case about cyberbullying, and it's much, much different than this case. And the only reason why the judge used it was because it involved another YouTuber. But what the YouTuber in Bud Love did was far different than what Jeremy Hales was accused of doing. It's not even close. But in that case, the court found that they went too far, even in that case. And that guy had done worse things, like way worse. Having people contact someone, having people like specifically harass another person on, telling his audience to contact them and do these things. Jeremy never did that.
Yeah, the idea of orchestration. In fact, I would say what Bruce has been doing is orchestration. All the letters going out to all these people, telling them, you must cover this, cover it a specific way, like this one channel over here, you'll get all these clicks. And, he's reaching out to Law 360 and all these other places. Yeah, he's going after the channels, trying to shut them down. I mean, who's orchestrating that?
Look at this question. How much of this is orchestrated by Hales for content? Absolutely zero. Are you talking about me? Of what I wrote is for his no, what I write is for my content. It's for my content. There's no law against me creating content because I'm a content creator, Bruce. And in trying to pretend like content creation is some kind of negative, nasty word or negative thing for people who create content, go fuck yourself, Bruce. You wish you could create content people wanted to read. Instead, you create content nobody wants to fucking read. That mac and cheese shit you wrote is the most boring crap. I got through 2 paragraphs, Bruce. Do better. Learn how to write better. Your writing sucks. It's verbose. It's too long. It's boring.
The stuff that's happening here. He's even telling you then. So he makes contact with these people because he's like, in my opinion, all of it will take a completely different turn. To completely turn the tables as a competent lawyer willing to represent Preston in federal court where she can bring counterclaims that would be much stronger than the claims Hale's brought. So right there, he's already talking about this is where he's going to insert himself into this. And it's fascinating to look back at this, in retrospect. Because he's telling you exactly what he was going to do way back when. Even then, he reaches out, he makes his contact, and then he ends this with, let me know if you want to set your coverage apart by having a serious lawyer discuss the many issues not being discussed.
I have plenty of serious lawyers that I talk to. I don't need Bruce. I don't need his opinion, especially not when he's in my inbox threatening me.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want me to talk to you, you will stop that immediately. And by the way, you should never have done it because you're guaranteeing I will not talk to you because you have threatened me. So go fuck yourself. And if you keep emailing me, Bruce, I will consider it harassment. Stop.
Now you notice I'd have to look the date on this. I clipped the date when I clipped that off, but this was right before the thumbnail stuff comes up. Now you notice the names start changing. We go from hey to there's my name. And it's telling me the thumbnail of your July 20th video includes a photograph of my client, Michelle Preston, which gives rise to claims under Florida Statute 540-08. Now, right there, I was like, and he says that he never threatened to sue. He says that in his newest one, and yet this right here, where was it going to go, Brucey? Of course, I can see that. DUI guy, I knew that this was frivolous litigation. You could see it. But what's more telling, over those few months, he's made contact with Preston. He's gone out of his way to insert himself in. He has done the very things that he says that Jeremy Hales is doing. He I mean, it's wild to see. It's absolutely wild. So yes, remove the photograph without delay, best regard. And again, not getting into it, but I talked yesterday about I didn't want to deal with frivolous litigation. I mentioned this to Megan. Megan was like, fuck that. You better not remove anything. And I was like, well, I got a lot going on. I don't want to deal
Who
with
needs it? Yeah, and you had a right to do that. You had a right to say, I don't need the headache.
But I knew it was just kicking the can down the road.
Sometimes it's better to just give in to idiocy so that you don't have to deal with the headache. But in his case, he's going to sue whether or not you acquiesce to him or not.
Yeah, I just knew it would be kicking that proverbial can down the road. And I knew later on there'd be issues. And also, I was like, okay, I'll make a live stream and we'll laugh about replacement of images. We'll have fun with it. So I turned it into something that was a lot of fun. But ultimately, like I said, it just kicked the can down the road, as it were. So
yeah.
After that, now you'll notice this. Now I have redacted the box for now. Later on, we may talk about that. But these are non-images. So after he tells me that he doesn't want, again, client, picture, he doesn't want names, any of that stuff, what does he do? He sends me non-pictures that are of Lynette, of the child.
And her kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid. I shouldn't say her kid, because it's not biologically her kid. I guess she adopted this kid, but I don't see her as her kid. It's somebody else's kid that she adopted.
Well, I haven't even gotten to even thinking about that, because there's so much insanity here. I haven't even gotten to the question of any of that. What I do know is that for people that tell me that I can't use images, then they told me I could. That's what this is telling me. And it's telling me he's starting to see the idea of drop it or else. Of course, not threatening you, but you know what that is. Again, just like the thumbnail thing. So, Mr. Lewis, do you know, Mr. Lewis, that's more like, I give him way too much excitement, but it bores me to talk like that. It's like Bueller.
Yes.
Give me 1 minute here.
It is just like that.
Let me see. Give me 1 second. Shit. That is not locking in correctly. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, no problem.
It's being a mess. Actually, I'm going to have to pull that and put it back up. Give me a second. Stupid StreamYards is flattening out. I'm going to have to go in and pull it up and do everything with it again.
This is a professional show, folks. I just want to remind you that this show is so professional, it should be supported by your super chats and breadstick money.
Amen.
And it's appreciated, because Tug works really hard to make this a professional show, even when StreamYard, goes on the fritz and things don't look right.
I can see the edge of her head in that one picture too. I'm going to cut that off. I don't even want her head, like the edge of
I mean, how dare he send you an email after threatening you to sue you for using her image, and then he sends you 9 more images of her. Yeah. That's a setup if I ever saw one. Well, how do you explain that, Bruce? How come you haven't ever addressed the fact that you threatened people and then you sued people who used her image, but then you sent her image to allegedly be used, I would imagine? Why would you send those photos to Tug? Why would you do that?
Here's the real telling thing, too. You notice this is addressed to me, but it's also addressed to two fleas.
That's Butter twins.
Yep, he put them, Butter twin powers activate, the shape of cholesterol.
And they put their bellies together and there's like an energy burst.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. That'd be the best show ever. I love it. Oh God.
No shade to the fats. Those of you out there trying to
hey man, listen to that.
No shade,
Woo.
Man. I've got my own butter problems.
I'm gonna eat a stick of butter.
But fat people are still funny. It's still funny.
But Mr. Loomis, do you know?
Loomis.
Did you know?
You can't even say your own name right. That is so funny.
It's funny, like sometimes. It's weird to read it. Like I don't even care. It's there. Bruce. What's fascinating is throughout this, Bruce relies on the efforts of doxers, and he brings up something that. Like I said, when the new one, I'll get there. I'll get there. So, do you know Hales is continuing to say that the airport photos were taken when they arrived, not when they were leaving? And I was like, no, I what? So Jeremy did a whole video after this came in, like right off of it. I watched this video. I was like, well, there's all your answers about everything that happened. So no muss, no fuss. But to fit the story he told, the kids had to escape for their lives. Now, the kids themselves, they're not kids, by the way, but okay, they can be kids. He used that. They said that they were in fear of John. In fact, they filed a police report. And in that police report, they not only alleged inappropriate touch, but on top of that, they alleged that they were told by another party there not to talk about this because of the ongoing litigation with Jeremy. I mean, that's in the police report. So they don't file it on the 4th of July when it happens. It gets filed a month down the road. That's their words. So when you look at that, yeah, I think... I mean, how else would you describe that? Now, in the aftermath, if they changed that story again, they made a police report. So they also said some really interesting things about Bruce, like GoFundMe fraud, for example. You know, they made some serious allegations in that. But what do I know, right? But anyway, they had to escape for their lives. He's going to links to double down on the airport photos lies. Some of his fans claim the photos are faked altogether. Are you covering the airport photo issues? Or is that where you draw the line between the intelligence of your viewers and the gullibility of Hale's viewers? So
I'm sorry, but he's already bored me to tears. Airport photos, fuck airport photos. I don't care whether they were taken before or after. Why does that matter? If somebody got it wrong, what material relevance does that have?
What was fascinating to me is I covered the call. They made a call and talked about it. So it's their words. There is no narrative being discussed. It is Jeremy Hales fielding a call from people that he doesn't want to field a call from.
Right. They're calling him.
And he's
asking for help.
Yeah, and he's offering to help anyway. I mean, that, to me, if you want to take anything from that, I thought that spoke volumes.
I know, I thought so too, especially because he has a history with Landon. They don't get along. Landon's done some things, to Jeremy that he doesn't like and he doesn't trust him, but he was still willing to help him. And I thought that was really something. I mean, here's a guy who is caught up in this awful situation with neighbors who have been, a boil on his neck for how long now? Like, it's just, and he's still willing to help whoever calls and asks him for help. And by the way, I've had conversations with Jeremy about that sort of thing where I'm like, dude, maybe you shouldn't help these people that when they reach out to you because they're going to turn on you, And you know what Jeremy's response to that is? I can't help myself.
It put him in a strange predicament.
Of course it put him in a bad position, but he's like, well, if somebody needs my help, I'm going to help him if I can. I mean, that's unbelievable. And that's the kind of guy that he is. So, and I've had I'm the one going, maybe you shouldn't, maybe you should quit now. Quit trying to help these people.
So again, he says, this next line, this is very telling because he's making this a Jeremy narrative when, again, they called him. We heard the discussion. I'm glad he put that in a video because otherwise there would just be this spin. So I assume you're 100% certain that the airport photos show the kids were driven there by Miss Preston and appear to all be happy. If you are certain of this, then you also know Hales is lying to his viewers. How do you
appear? People always appear to be happy. People always appear to be happy in photos, by the way. It becomes natural to smile for a camera. That does not mean that everybody's happy. Just because somebody's smiling in a photo.
They said they were afraid of John. Do you think they would smile if they were in a picture with John? Uncomfortably still, but would they smile?
Yeah, probably. Lots of people who are in uncomfortable situations smile for a camera. Yeah. I don't, that is not evidence of anything because somebody smiling in a picture could tell you, actually, that was the worst day of my life. I was smiling in this picture because, my mother was taking it, but I just found out I have cancer. or
well, they left for a reason, didn't they? They got the hell out of there, didn't they? And they talked about why. So again, yeah, I mean, she's made allegations about John Cook. She herself. Like, we're just supposed to ignore
I know, we're
that
using
idea.
her words. And that's the other thing. We have used her own statements. She has said that John Cook is a bad person, that he's an abuser.
He brought RSV into the home intentionally.
Now, I don't know if I believe everything she says. I actually think she lies about most things, but these are things she has said. So, Bruce, if you have a problem with it, you should take it up with your own client. Your client posted videos on Facebook saying that John Cook was a possible, of little children. She said that.
She claimed
that
types of abuse. She said,
I actually don't believe anything that she claims when it comes to that, because she keeps claiming that about everyone she's mad at. He tells me
I gotta believe her. That's what he's telling me.
Well, that's true.
That's one of his clients.
Bruce wants us to believe her.
Yeah. So how does he reconcile that idea? If I'm supposed to believe everything she says, well, okay, how do I reconcile what happened with John Cook then? Huh.
Yeah, I have those videos of her saying that John Cook is an abuser.
Yeah, I took the words. I wanted to get them exactly correct, when we were talking about this. So I went back and I watched those, and I pulled them up for a video because I wanted to get it, word for word. And that wasn't all the accusations, by the way, like the what was it, sitting without a shirt or something? I can't remember exactly.
Wearing it was something about his shorts, or I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. Just remembering it gives me PTSD.
I'm telling you. But, so how do you continue to accept and propagate everything he says without anything from the other side? Hey.
No, we're literally using her own words.
I invited her on. Again, 100% open invitation. Just Bruce can't come on. And that's what fucking infuriates him. If he wants.
Yeah, Bruce. We'll interview her and we'll be very nice to her. Like
I'll ask her questions, though.
No traps or tricks or anything. We'll just talk to her, but we'll ask her. We'll hold her feet to the things that she said.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very.
But you're not allowed to come on and coach her, and absolutely, it will not be recorded. It will be live.
Yep. Yeah. None of the recording. It's fascinating. He knows that that's such a train wreck that they give recorded statements when they bring her on. They won't let her speak live. I think that's telling too.
And he bans her from people's chats. Amazing.
It's amazing as well.
It's amazing.
No, get my client out of here, please. So you're making money off what the hell's destroying the lives of helpless people using a virtual mob who send menacing threat messages to her every day and have caused her life to be consumed with CPS reports from anonymous
menacing, threatening messages every day. You want to publish some of those, Bruce? I'd like to see them. And by the way, we've only ever told our audience, don't ever contact anybody we talk about. And by the way, the money being made is not on the topic. The money that is made by YouTubers is on their personalities, on their show. It's on the product itself.
Yeah.
I am the product. Tug is the product. The product is not the story. No matter what story we're talking about, we make money because we're funny and we're entertaining and we put together a package that people want to buy. It's not about the story.
Yeah. And by the way, if you like my package, wait, that sounds wrong.
No, it doesn't. Go with it. If you like my package.
By the way, if you really like my package there, think about subscribing, sharing, and if you'd like to go further, because, well, the platform sometimes is like, yeah, we'll put ads in, but we're not going to give them to you.
Right, but not to you.
Yeah. So consider supporting the channel, memberships, super chats, whatever you want there. But you being here too, thank you. Thanks, Bruce, for that segue. Appreciate that.
People come to the show and they come back and they subscribe and they tune in because they like you, because they like your personality. They like the way you tell a story. And it doesn't matter what story you're telling. You could tell a story about Amber Heard and they would come here and they would subscribe and they would send super chats. And you could tell a story about Comic-Con and they would come here and they would send super chats and they would subscribe. You cover tons of things. And same on my channel. The topic is never the product. I'm the product. You come to see me. You come to hear what I have to say about certain things, about anything. You come here for the hair. That's right, chat. Come here to hear about my hair. that would be my defense in court. My chat shows up to listen to me talk about my hair care routine. I actually did, because they were complaining at me for grifting for my hair, like stopping the story I was doing and telling people I wasn't going forward until there were more super chats. So I was going to talk about my hair until super chats improved. And there was some criticism online of that. And just as an answer to it, I had an impromptu hair grifting stream where I did nothing but talk about my hair, and I did my hair on stream, and I made tons of money that night. So it goes.
Hey, I'm brushing my hair right now. People, if you'd like to support that,
put up your hair icon.
Oh my
Put up
God,
the Jerry curl tug.
Man, I need to get that in there. Yes, if you'd like to support my hair care.
But it just goes to show. It just goes to show it's not about the topic. Look at Jerry curl tug. Oh, I love it. Mullet tug.
If you want really nice hair, look at that, man. It's sexy time.
So that's just not. It's just not right. It's just not right to say that we make money off of this particular story. We've had channels for years.
Now, this line actually was interesting to me, considering, you got to remember, he just sent me 9 pictures with a kid in it. Okay, so he's like, can you stop to think about what that must be like for not only her, but the child who's exposed to all of it? Yeah, I've asked some really serious questions about the child and exposure. And again, stating no one contact anybody for that. No services or anything. I'm just talking about my thoughts on that. I thought, first of all, why send me 9 pictures with a child included? And then be like, why don't you take everything down? Why don't you do that? He sent me this stuff for coverage. So he just put pictures out there that would be of that kid. If I would have pulled them up and I would have talked about them. Yeah, but what he's telling me is it's okay to cover that too. But then he says, oh, you took the photo down. And of course, this is what, I had talked about with kicking the can down the road. Why not end your coverage of this altogether? He's lying about the photos. You should make you question everything else. Drop that subject, Doug, because we don't want you to cover it.
That's ridiculous. Why not end your coverage altogether? Why? Because this is America, bucko. That's why. You don't get to tell the media what they cover and what they don't. And just because you are being paid by a woman who doesn't want to be talked about does not mean you get to make the decisions on who talks about her case and who doesn't.
Well,
Lord.
The next,
is this now?
This is that one that he sent that Shizzy.
Oh, that we read yesterday?
Yeah, now I do want to read this in context, though, because it brings up channels covering this, because some channels are allowed to cover this and talk about it, according to Bruce, but some aren't allowed because of insane nonsense. So he says, hi, Brian, and this is to Law 360. He's reaching out again, and he's trying to get
to a legal media person. Yeah.
And this is in my inbox, so you can see I clipped this.
Yeah, he copied me on this shit too.
Yeah, there were like 8 people. Some of them, I don't even know who that is. But anyway, hi Brian. It's just a matter of time before the story is reported in the mainstream legal media and likely even broader coverage by tech and internet media. There has never been a situation like it. Now I would agree with that line. They're probably I've never seen a situation.
Which what makes it newsworthy.
Yeah, that's what makes it public interest there.
Yeah.
The legal media reporter who covers this story will be invited on numerous YouTube channels for legal analysis on an ongoing basis. Oh, man. I'm sure they're like, yeah, I want to get on that channel with a couple thousand subscribers. Again, no shade. You got to start and you grow. But when they're thinking about it, they're like, bigger, more exposure, the better, huh? So, yeah. Several that are covering this story on their quote-unquote law tub. That's what I'm going to go with. Their law tub. That's what they are. We have law tube, but I guess they're law tub.
Tub.
Yeah. Channels are CC'd here. 2 Lees in a Pod and Milktown's Best began covering it to expose the true story of how, quote-unquote, what the hell's YouTube channel has become dedicated to destroying the lives of its owners, quote-unquote, bad neighbors, based on the false reality Jeremy invented content on his channel to increase interest, views, and revenue.
Oh, so he likes those channels. Okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting. I want to make a point with this, since we are, putting this in here for, for people that maybe don't know what's going on. Just like the video showing how crazy stuff is. I hate this narrative, because this narrative assumes that that's the thing that makes the channel work, and that is not correct at all. Here, and we're not going to go over all this, I just want to show this here. Give me 1 second. Up screen. Okay, so this is what the hell's. This is popular. Okay, this is what has done well for them, and you'll notice.
Oh my gosh, I never even noticed this. Tug, what a find!
Yeah.
Oh my God! I've never looked at the popular tab on my videos.
Yeah, well, let's see. Okay, when do you see stuff about anything that
I still haven't seen anything? Oh wait, cops called on neighbors. Cops called on neighbors again. There, it finally is, part 2.
Okay, so we have out of this, and he said also in the thumbnail lawsuit,
9 videos down. Look at that.
So in the thumbnails lawsuit, he also said that Lynette's face on something is what increases viewership. Now,
I don't see her face on any of these.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not wanting to belabor the point, but look at that. Do you see her face? I mean,
nope.
Like, how far down do I have to go? It's not here. These are not the top stories. In fact, I would say that having to cover this, it adds stress.
Oh, I'm sure it's cut into his audience too, because there's a portion of the audience who's there for the treasure hunting, and they don't want to hear about this drama.
You can't. This is something I've learned with stuff. Like, when people have come after me or something, you definitely cover that. And he is under siege. His entire life is under siege. So, of course, he covers this a lot. How do you think about anything else? I mean, it's got to be there all the time. But, again, like, we haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to scroll this all. I'm just making the point. Their lawsuit is a bunch of garbage because, I mean, where is it? Where is it indeed? So anyway, let me get back to the little letter.
I need to figure out how to add a popular tab on my page.
It's on yours. You just go under videos, and then if you look at the way it goes,
I
latest, and then
see.
it's popular.
You can read. Oh, my most popular ones aren't her either. None of my most popular ones are her at all.
Well, it's
not until you get down past like 12 videos. It's down there. The very first What the Hale's one that pops up is like, oh, it's about the judge. It's about the judge.
Mine, I had one thumbnail image. So you're going to tell me out of the one that was somehow increased everything? It's like, that is absolute absurdity, But, let's see. Based on the false reality, okay. That Umbrella Guy, Megan Fox writer, and Shizzy Wiznut. Now, it's funny to see Shizzy added here. Love the Shizzy, by the way. I'm going to have Shizzy on next week. Our schedules have to align, so I'm going to make that work one day. Either that or the week after, depending. But we will get that for sure. But Shizzy Wiznut, the reason that they were added here is because they wrote a message that Bruce didn't like. And Bruce, they suddenly become not the DUI guy I mentioned, but Shizzy Wiznut. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So we're amongst a number of channels that act as extensions of What the Hell's. We are now extensions. So, man, I need some of that revenue cut off for me since I'm extension of the main channel.
It's absurd. I've
it
never
is.
been an extension of any other channel. I have my own channel. I do my own thing. If I'm interested in a story, I might get close to a subject of the story, but I am not taking orders from anybody. That's just absurd. And frankly, the fact that he keeps claiming it is bordering to me on defamation. Like, where do you get your evidence? Where do you have your evidence that I'm taking any marching orders from anybody? Where do you get that, Bruce?
He wants to say that saying that he doesn't have clients is defamation, and yet he's come up with this insane conspiracy that we're all connected, and we got this puppet master out there pulling strings.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I got 3
I just
kids.
don't respond well to it.
I have 4 kids now.
No, I don't respond well to people telling me
Two
what
of
to
whom
do.
are at homecoming right now, probably being pawed at by teenage boys.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, if you're feeling bad for Megan there, consider subscribing to this channel, sending a super chat telling her how terrible you feel. No, I'm just playing.
I don't get these super chats.
Yes, she will. I'll read them to her. That's just like it. You know?
Oh God. Okay. Parenthood is the scariest thing on earth when you have daughters and you send them to like a formal dance with boys.
God, I know my oldest. You know, she's starting to look older, and boys are noticing her, and I'm like, oh no. The little boys are talking to her. I'm like, oh no. Like, can I legally mace somebody in this situation?
Can I legally? You should have seen the dress I sent my daughter out in tonight. I mean, it's beautiful. And she's beautiful in it, but it's va-va-voom. Oh my goodness.
Man. I mean, my daughter, if I buy her one, she'll be like, Dad, I'm not dressing in a potato sack. Like,
she's going to be like a prairie dress. Listen, this dress was the least va-va-voom one I could find. I mean, they're just, at least it was long. These homecoming dresses they have now go right under the ass. And their girls don't even like wear shorts or anything under it. And if some of them, they don't even have to be bending over and their underwear is showing. I don't get it. I don't get it. And so I got her a long one. It's got quite the slit though, but
that's
it's long.
I'm like, oh, look at me bend my arches. Oh yeah. My oldest daughter is like, you know, because I mean the humor you hear, this is the way I am, you know, with people. My daughter, it's a little more tamed if my kids around, obviously, but they're like, oh my God, Dad, you are so embarrassing. So anyway, here, fake reality story, thereby profiting from cyberbullying, harassment, invasion of privacy, humiliation, and mocking of the quote-unquote bad neighbors who are actually private individuals whose lives have been destroyed by this. Are we all private individuals, by the way? Aren't we? And I realize
no.
the game he's playing, but he's you know, legally,
I'm not a private individual, but she's not either because she ran for public
neither's
office.
Bruce, interestingly enough. Neither is
he's
Bruce.
not a private individual either because now he's made himself a public individual by going on all these podcasts, making himself a public figure and a spokesperson and all of that stuff. So you are now a limited purpose public person too, Bruce. Welcome to the club.
Yep, indeed. You know, got to prove that actual malice, baby. Tough luck.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
They justified his quote-unquote covering a public interest story. Don't you like that? He's like, oh, it's not public interest. I mean, let's see, 2,400 people here might disagree with that, and they are interested in that. Under the guise of journalism and parody, but it's nothing more than a cheap, lazy content to make money at the expense of helpless, poor people who are easy targets and whose lives have become content fodder for these channels. Man, what monsters. He's talking about, man, those people up there at the top, those two Lees, those people, man, they should be upset by that. That's who he's talking about, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I don't recognize any of that other stuff. A major part of the storyline is that the neighbor is an unfit mother for a 4-year-old adopted at birth daughter, such that fans of these YouTube channels have made more than 24 anonymous CPS reports, resulting in live visits, all finding no abuse. So, can you prove these statements that fans of my channel have been making contacts? Because again, I'm very clear on what I think about it. I cannot control other people. But I guess that makes Bruce liable for any nasty fucking thing. Like when people were bringing up intimate details of my life. I guess Bruce is, he's actually responsible for that then. Right, Bruce? I guess so, by default. I mean, that's the way this goes. So I suppose all of that stuff, I suppose I can just be like, that person's to blame. I mean, again, that's the way he puts it there. So the latest twist in the Hale's fabrication of a quote-unquote emergency removal proceeding supposedly in progress, a terrifying notion, albeit untrue, but a content-generating storyline, hashtag Save Harley Grace, intended for his audience to believe. Now again, remember, while we're going over this is written to a journalist out there. Again, it's tagged in other journalists, so yeah, it is definitely worth talking about. There are a number of lawyers, YouTube hosts covering this with no regard to professional comportment. No regard. So all of those are in professional, but not Bruce. He's not talking about himself, even though he should be.
He has a lot of nerve to talk about professional comportment.
Yes, indeed. Such as joining a quote-unquote judge grudge storyline, attacking a sitting Florida state
Oh, so the
judge.
fuck what? I am not required to give any deference. This is America. We don't have kings. And our judges, they wear black robes, not crowns. They are not above
Indeed.
criticism. They are not. I am not a lawyer. I did not sign an ethics, an ethical guidelines that say I won't disparage a judge. Guess what? Judges are on my hit list of people that I am allowed to criticize. And I will criticize them if they act like Judge DeThomasis does, because he acts like an absolute asshole. And I have a right to say that he acts like a special kind of asshole. That's what my dad would call him. My dad would call him a special kind of asshole. Because he thinks he's very special, but he isn't. He's just an asshole. And you're allowed to say that here in America. You're allowed to tell anybody that they are not a king. They're not above you. Everybody here is on the same plane. We don't have kings. We don't have lords. You don't get to tell us that we can't talk about our betters. Fuck you.
I'm from the U.S. South. And in the U.S. South, we have a special disdain for authority, because authority has stepped on our necks and it's kept us in poverty for forever. You can look back at we have a prettier type of poverty. It's harder to see, but look at the poorest areas in the United States. Who has done that? Well, it includes judges. So when a judge steps out, fuck yes, call them out. And I seem to remember an appeals court agreeing with what we were saying. I don't notice that here. And some actually involved in the events that are newsworthy for their actions in relations to this. One lawyer, we discussed this, like I said, I was like, I don't even know who they're talking about. One lawyer was roped into making an outrageous filing seeking access to the sealed adoption file on behalf of the sister of the child's biological father, whom she has never met. This was so Hales could falsely tell his audience, right now in the courts, there's an emergency proceeding to remove Harley Grace and place her with biological aunt. It's false. So like you said,
it's not false.
They hired a lawyer. They
hired a lawyer. They didn't rope anybody. Nobody used any ropes. No one was coerced. They literally wrote a check and hired a lawyer to challenge the adoption. And that process is in process. Whether he wants to believe it or not, just because they haven't seen a filing doesn't mean it's not on the way.
But the way this sounds, it makes it sound like YouTubers did this.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah, her biological family hired a lawyer. We had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and they're allowed to, 100%.
Other than telling people about their fundraiser.
Yeah, and you're allowed to talk about those too. Crazy idea, huh? So several practicing lawyers with YouTube channels, including two CC'd here, MG Law and Legal Vices, have jumped on the quote-unquote bad neighbors gravy train with coverage of it on their own channels, all refusing to present any version but what is propagated on What the Hells. The reason is that by doing so, they remain privileged by Jeremy Hales to use his content without fear of DMCA copyright strikes, whereas Hales files false strikes for fair use of some What the Hell's content by smaller channels such as Milltown's Best, who cover him in a negative or critical way. Yeah, I find any claim that comes in because I am a fair use channel. And I have asked because I use entire videos by him. I find, the entire video use, if it's transformative, I don't have to ask for that, but I do because, I'm trying to be respectful in that. But I don't have to. Fair use is fair use there. That has nothing to do with critical or not critical again. You know, I go through, there's a 40-minute video and it takes 3 hours to get through it. Why? Transformative. Crazy. Attached are my recent filings, of course, because he has to work himself into this. Talk to me. Me, as defense counsel on behalf of Hale's victims in a frivolous federal lawsuit he filed against them to generate content for YouTube. I especially direct your attention to the memo in support of MSJ, and in particular Section G. This story will be ongoing for a long time, as much litigation will be generated from it. Right there, the threat of more lawsuits. And he talks about this in about 20 minutes. 1 second, I got a kid here.
Hey, can you tell the chat something about my grub worm?
You can very quickly if you want to.
It tried to bite me once.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
A sharp thing. It tried to bite me, but I didn't let it.
Yeah. Did you have a conversation with it? You're like, yo, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, I was like, no, you cannot bite me because I feed you and you don't even pay rent.
Yeah, it's true, man. If you
none of my pets pay rent.
You don't even pay rent.
Yeah.
Ew! I just looked up what a grub worm is, and it's terrifying.
Oh,
yeah, it's
God.
it'll turn into a beetle later on.
And why do we have these?
Oh, she has all types of insects as pets. She has, what is it, 4 millipedes.
Did she find these outside?
Yeah. Well, the millipedes, no. We picked them up. She wanted something that, you could actually touch. That wasn't like a spider, or something that won't touch you back. So, yeah.
Do millipedes, they don't bite?
Yeah. Huh? Millipedes don't. No,
millipedes don't bite?
No, these specific ones, they can climb. They have a...
My toad pees everywhere.
I should let her go wild in my basement, because I have, here in New York, there are some really weird grub-like bugs. They're millipedes, but they're not like the type I ever saw. Like you'll have to send me a picture of your millipedes.
Yeah, she will. All right.
I'm going to take the cake up so she doesn't eat it.
Okay, you put the cake up. That's very nice, too. All right, thank you. Thank you for securing it. All right.
Let me tell them about my pets.
Well, tell them real quick about your pets. And then
Also, here's a satire thing.
Mm-hmm.
My grub worm is a part of the grub worm mafia.
Oh, my goodness.
The lead of it.
Oh, no, the grub worm mafia.
The grub worm mafia.
Man. All right, hey, go upstairs, get your stuff together, okay?
Grubs thugs? It's Grubs thugs.
Yeah. Grubs thugs.
Hashtag Grubs thugs.
Oh, no. Oh. No, but she has a toad. Let's see. She has toads and snails and some other stuff. I don't remember.
I got millipedes aplenty in my basement.
Yeah, these are specific types. Now, millipedes, they do put off a chemical. You have to watch, like in handling. You have to handle them like gloves or something, because they do put off a chemical that is not. It would not be safe if you were just taking them out and handling them. But again, we use gloves and everything else. We're very safe in the way that we do stuff with them. But she wanted something that, like, if you pick it up, like, I have a centipede, a big one, and it's crazy creepy, and that is not something you would ever touch. That thing
they bite.
Safe. Yes.
I'm sending you something. By the way, the chat has been trying to get your attention to check your DMs on Twitter. And I'm also sending you something on Twitter that I want you to look at, because my locals chat is making hilarious memes. And
check this real quick. My DMs on Twitter. Let me see what's flopping in there. I see a mega bot. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Fascinating. Yeah, they're talking about the Connecticut lawyer discipline system. Interesting. I'll go through all of that too and see, because I guess people, they want to know me, so that's cool. I'm curious about who they are too. I think I'm allowed my curiosity, since they're allowed their curiosity apparently. But anyway, where were we? Attached are the filings. I especially direct. We got that. Stories ongoing. Much litigation. I also attach separate state court lawsuit filed against What the Hells and 2 other YouTubers. Yep. Who have misappropriated Hale's victim's image and likeness for their video thumbnails to generate
this again.
Yep. So
I'm so bored with Bruce.
Well, now we get to the new one, you know? Now we get to the new one.
Oh, somebody said Ponscum Posse. I have to change to the Ponscum now. Look, it's me and Tug and Jeff. Or Dave. Is it Dave? Look at you. Look at your little Ponscum with your umbrella.
Oh,
look how cute you are.
Look at me. I'm so nice.
Look at you, cute. Look how cute you are with your little umbrella.
I'm drinking. Everybody else is like hanging out with their little stick legs. Now we get to the wonderful one from today.
Oh, well, this one is what I woke up to this morning. Yeah, how would you like to wake up to this in your inbox, folks?
Oh,
I've got this energy when I was reading it, by the way. I've changed my avatar to my energy.
So now we're, I guess, BFFs because he's addressing us all by first names.
We're on a first name basis now with Bruce. Yeah. But Bruce, by the way, I don't give you permission to use my first name. You may call me Mrs. Fox, okay? That's what you may call me. Or not at all. I prefer that you don't call me anything because I want you to stop emailing me because it's now harassment and stalking.
Well, actually,
please stop.
Like I said, Mr. Bruce here, he gets all his information from the efforts of doxers, which is fascinating. In fact, he mentions something here. And in this, I thought this was really, really fascinating because it mentions there's a certain verbiage that's used. And I'll point this out and I'll explain what I'm saying here when we get to it. So Matt and Megan, I propose you stop covering what the hell's cold turkey.
Wait, you forgot the subject line. Oh my God.
Oh man, I didn't. Yeah. I forget. Let me.
A proposal.
Yes, it was a proposal.
The subject line is a proposal. That was the first thing I woke up to this morning. Literally, I picked up my phone.
He's proposing to us.
And the very first notification I got was from Bruce, a proposal. And I was like, oh, fuck.
No,
this is not what I needed for my Saturday morning. Fuck off,
like married.
Bruce.
What's up? I don't need this.
I don't want a proposal from you, Bruce.
He's like, can I put a toe ring on you? You're like, gross. Ew. He's like, can I subscribe to your OnlyFeet, Matt? And I was like, well, if you really are down with that, I suppose. But I propose you stop covering what the hell's cold turkey.
Cold turkey?
Man, give me my fix, Megan.
I need my fix.
Yeah, I know I gotta get. Oh man, I got.
Oh, how ridiculous!
If so,
God, I wish we could stop covering this story. When the day we stop covering the story, I will be so relieved. It will be great. But as long as you keep, here's how we stop covering the story, Bruce. I'll tell you how you want this done. I can make that happen. You can make that happen. Stop. It had already been petering out. No one was talking about it. We were doing tonsil twins. We were talking about David Gingras, our other favorite dumbass lawyer. We were talking about other things.
We were looking at Karen Reed and all that.
We're looking at Karen Reed. We were going to redo that entire trial. And then you had to stick your dumb ass into this and stir everything up and start suing people in LawTube. And you think we're going to stop talking about it?
You think, fucker, you think you're going to come after a friend of mine and DUI guy? Again, I don't know DJ Redis. DJ Redis seems like a great person, but I know DUI guy. And you think you're going to target something? One of the things that I've learned in YouTube is that when somebody comes in with frivolous bullshit like this, you make sure that you speak about it and you speak about it loudly. Because that is the only way that you stop that. You've shamed the fuck out of them for doing that. And you make sure that people have support. So there's no way I wouldn't talk about that. There is no way whatsoever. But
I like what Lee Wire says in the chat. He said, if they stop, it will all stop and we can go back to fun content. Yes.
Well, I'm sure Jeremy, he would be the #1 person on that. He'd be like, again, storage units. The storage units come with, I'm sure they have their own stress here and there, but really, you have your content, you look at it, you make money. You don't have to worry about, kicking it to a lawyer to keep this bullshit. I mean, it's just
He's the one keeping it going. Bruce is the one keeping it going. It was dying out. No one was talking about it. This is just garbage. This is so much garbage. All right, sorry. Continue.
If so, I can guarantee you will not eventually be sued by Michelle Preston, John Cook, and HG, which is the child, Preston, for any of your coverage heretofore. So again, that is telling us if we continue to talk about things that he himself has brought into the courtroom now, and all the background that leads to that, because all of it becomes relevant because of Bruce. John Cook, are you fucking kidding me?
The guy was arrested for pointing a gun at an 8-year-old. You think I'm not going to talk about that? He is public record. He is notorious. He is a notorious person now in this story. There is no way we aren't going to talk about that, and we have every right to talk about it, as the local news has also done. What are you going to do? You're going to go sue them too, Bruce?
Of course not. He'd beg them. He'd be like slobbering on their feet. Please cover me. Talk to me. I'm the real story here. You know, not her, not Jeremy, me. Ugh. But John Cook, really? You mean Mr. Inappropriate Touch? You know, and again, that wasn't alleged by Jeremy. That was alleged by people that were living on that property around the kid that we're supposed to never have concern about, right? So please mind your formal logic. I've only explained what would ensure you will not be sued. If A, then B does not equal if not A, then not B. So he's trying to get around that. He's trying to say, I'm not really threatening to sue you. You know, it's a bunch of shit.
Wait, which one's A and which one's B? If A, then B. Okay, so he's saying A is, if you stop, you won't be sued. But if not, if you don't stop, then you won't be sued. So why are you sending this? Why are you sending this then? If you're saying if we don't stop, we won't be, then not B, which is in B, he set up to be not be sued, it will be sued, and you're saying not sued, then why would we stop? And anyway, don't worry, Bruce. Don't change it and say you'll sue us if we don't stop. We're not going to stop, regardless of what you say you're going to do or not do, because you're a total moron. None of this is going to. But I mean, why would you even say this? If A, then B does not equal, if not A, then not B. Why would you even say that?
Because he's trying to worm around this. Just like he says, you know, I've never threatened either one of you with a lawsuit, contrary to what you claim.
Oh, bullshit. You just did it right there. He did it with the thumbnail. He did it with the thumbnail. He did it with this one. He was in my chat saying, be careful. Fuck you. Fuck you, Bruce. Don't tell me to be careful. Don't tell me shit. Don't talk to me at all. How about that?
He sent me the same demands that he sent to DUI Guy. He sent to DJ Radis. And I don't know if there were other people too. I just know those people for sure.
And then he sued them.
Jeremy. Yeah, and he sued them. So you're going to tell me that wasn't a threat to sue? Come on, get real,
it was absolutely a threat. And this is absolutely a threat too. Saying if you stop covering this story, you will not eventually be sued. I can guarantee it. Bullshit. What does that even mean? Because if we said today, okay, we're not going to cover this anymore, the next thing he would do is say, now you need to take down all your coverage or I'm going to sue.
Yeah.
Or he would say, if you take down all your coverage, I can guarantee you won't be sued. So where does it stop?
Like, that proves what I was saying. You know, oh yeah, you're admitting to this now, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He would say it was an admittance to guilt. And there's no fucking way I'm ever going to take down anything unless I'm ordered to by a court, Bruce. I'm not taking down shit. And I'm not going to stop talking because you don't get to tell me what I get to think. You don't get to tell me what my opinions are about this court case, this public case. You don't get to tell me what my opinions are about her public behavior. Her behavior on the Fish and Game wildlife body cam. You don't get to tell me what my opinion of her behavior is. I get to tell my audience what my opinion is.
It's going to get better in 2 sentences. I love this justification of stupid. So First of all, he says, that's just a way of inciting your viewers and making yourself look like principled free speech warriors. You're not. Now listen to this. This is so, what the fuck? So he says, nor am I, quote, trying to have YouTube channels shut down, unquote. Writing one letter reporting Vet Nation's PR stunt and asking that they shut his channel down for it is hardly trying to get him shut down.
What?
Wait,
It literally said that they should shut his channel down.
He just said it there.
The letter said you should shut this channel down. And the letter also said that what the Hale's channel should be shut down. He is a liar. Bruce, you're a liar. You're lying to us. We have the letter.
One second. Yes,
we have the letter, Bruce. We have it because you know why we have it? Your dumbass copied us on it.
Yeah, that's how we found out about it. And then, there's all these weird claims about how did you get it? Well, it's because you freaking attach everybody and their mama to this stuff.
He copies us on all this shit that he sends.
All right, here it is. I wanted to pull up 2 sentences on that because, again, not to rehash that letter, but just for the sake of making
He might not have copied me on that letter. I might have got that from Veteran Nation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. He's copied me on so much shit I can't keep up, you guys.
He says only one channel, but this right here totally says it different. It says YouTube, and in particular those who have read emails and letters received at this email address, and again, that's legal at supportyoutube.com, so he's writing legal there, are and have long been aware of the content being streamed by What the Hell's targeting Miss Preston. So that right there says they've been writing to shut down Jeremy Hale's channel. That's another channel. There's
it's 2. This next paragraph that totally contradicts the thing that he said in the letter to us.
Yes, Mr. Arthur's live CPS stunt and resultant disruption of my client's life should demonstrate to you how this What the Hell's fake reality bad neighbors storyline using my client's life has gone too far. It's time for YouTube to take action. It should shut down Mr. Arthur's Veteran Nation channel. Straight up.
So, straight up, it should shut. Time for YouTube to take action. It should shut down this channel. Bruce, you lie. You lie.
She lied.
This is 2 channels. This is telling me straight up. He's saying, I've only done that to one channel, but I didn't do that to one. It's like,
what a
liar.
Does
that even mean? Okay, let me pull that back up.
You are fake news.
There, that's what I wanted. I wanted my Trump button. You were fake news,
fake
Bruce.
News. But it was set. It was to set an example for those who might jump on the phony Save Harley Grace storyline. So,
set an example? Who's he? Everybody's daddy? Give me a break. You are not my daddy, Bruce. You don't get to be my daddy and tell me that the fun time is over now and we're shutting it down. Like, you're not anybody's dad. Knock it off.
It's to set an example that if people had some kind of concern that they cannot contact this agency about said concern. And again, when I say that, I'm not encouraging people to contact anything. I'm just saying, no. Mm-mm. And writing one letter to YouTube about Hale's calling on my client to, quote, experience the consequences of being ARPed.
He never said that. That's also a lie.
Is far from trying to get it shut down. What?
That is also a lie. Jeremy Hale said he thought that the same thing, the consequence Lynette should face, is the same consequence that he would have faced if he had been found guilty of the crime she accused him of.
Yeah, you false
That
accusers.
is not the same thing as saying she should suffer that crime she accused me of. That's not what he said. He said she should suffer the same consequence that I would have faced if the law had believed her.
It's 100%. False accusers deserve punishment. That is something that I can't believe people try to defend false accusers. Like it's so insane because people face real legal consequences. Things that, not even the legal consequences too. I mean, outside of that, the things that they accuse Jeremy Hales of, that's the kind of stuff that will get you put in the ground forever. You know, I mean, that's dangerous.
And Jeremy is on tape. It is on tape what he said, and I have seen it. He did not say anything to the sort of this. He did not. He said she should be held accountable to the same punishment that I would have been held accountable if I had been found guilty of that thing she accused me of. That is not the same thing as saying she should suffer that fate. It is not the same thing at all. He did not say she should be ARPed. And Bruce, you're a damn liar.
Oh, yeah. He's more of a scumbag. This is going to get so scumbaggy. So now this is about him. In addition to not being sued by the victims of Hales whose lives you helped disrupt and destroy for the last 6 months, I also guarantee not suing either of you myself for your false and defamatory content about me, including that I, quote, have no clients. So he's going to sue over...
Bruce, you appear to have no clients, and feel free to prove us wrong. But you have been sitting on live streams for 4 to 9 hours a day. There's no way. I know a lot of lawyers who work a lot of cases. They do not have time to sit on a live stream for 30 minutes, let alone 9 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours like you do. And we've seen you sitting there for 4 hours. You went on their channel the other day and you said, I really can't stay long. And then you stayed for 4 hours. You don't have anything to do.
Writing letters like this all the time. I mean,
and if you do have other things to do, if you do have clients, but you're sitting online all day on podcasts, I feel sorry for your clients because you're not spending much time working on their cases. So please feel free to prove us wrong with your caseload. Please show us what cases you're working on and how many clients you have. All we've said is that you appear to have no clients. And you cannot sue us for saying you act like a guy who has no clients, because you do.
Oh, my God. No. Oh, my God. Are you fucking clown? I mean, what?
I don't think he knows what defamation means. First of all,
he thinks that he has never. Look, 1 second. He has never faced any type of fucking blowback when he wants to go after somebody. He is used to sitting in a courtroom and being able to run over people. That's what it is. But you know what, motherfucker? You are not going to run over me. I will never let you run over me. You won't threaten me. You won't tell me what to do. And really, again, you going out and you relying on information from doxers and shit says plenty about me. It says plenty about me and to me about you. So you've gone beyond the pale. You are either, number one, the stuff that's brought up in here. There's one part in here. I know where that comes from. And again, it's not just doxer, but it's interesting because the other stuff that was posted about me, I'm sure it comes from the same people. The same folks did that. So you are linked to that shit, buddy. You are 100%. And I have already talked about what I think about that. In order
for it to be defamation, it would, one, have to be knowingly false. I don't know that it's false that you don't have any clients. And not only would it have to be knowingly false, that I would have to know that you had clients, but then I told people that you didn't. I would have to have done it for malicious purposes. I would have maliciously have to have lied. I am not lying. I don't know that you have any clients. You don't appear to be a guy that has any clients because you have so much time on your hands to sit around writing threat letters to everybody and copying everybody and sitting on podcasts all day. I can't imagine you have an extra hour in your day after all that to deal with any other unrelated cases. So you just don't even know what defamation is.
Then he gets mad and calling me an ambulance chaser.
I guess he doesn't like America so much.
Yeah, apparently, we're supposed to love the lawyers. Ambulance chaser, huh? I can have my opinions over how you linked yourself into this case, how you forced yourself into it. In fact, looking at your letters, to me, it seems to establish a pretty clear, not only timeline, but he spent 20 minutes talking about his motives and why he did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wasn't that interesting, by the way, Megan? Him talking about...
Yeah, we have that. We should play that. Do you have that?
I don't have it pulled up. If you want to pull it up.
I have it.
Let's do the letter, and then we'll play that part.
I'll
because
find
it'll talk about his motives for it.
Oh, Jesus, he's emailed me again. He just emailed me again. He said, you can keep up all prior videos. Oh, thanks, Bruce. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for your permission. Go fuck yourself, Bruce. Go fuck yourself. Okay, now I am replying. I'm sick of this.
What's this tell you though? Okay, so this guy. Okay, Bruce, since you are listening here, you're writing at 8:30. Now you're watching at 8:53. What the fuck have you been doing all day? You just been waiting? Like, please, God. It definitely looks like you don't have anything else in your life. He's like, I got clients. I mean, look, I got Miss Preston, Mr. Cook. Got them. Yeah, right. Okay. But, although unlike Larry Foreman, I do not. All right,
what do you think about this response? Go fuck yourself, Bruce. Don't email me again. Serve me or fucking shut up. Is that good enough? How about or shut the fuck up? I like shut the fuck up better.
No, man, you can write me all day long, brother. You can write me all day long, but you know it's going to end up on something, or I'm going to ignore it. It depends on how fucking spicy it is.
Jesus Christ, I'm so done with this guy.
No,
I go to my email to find something, and I've got this asshole in my inbox again.
Yeah, he makes you litigation proof. That's the funny thing about it, because he wants you to cover items just from his point of view. He wants you to talk about him. So he makes you litigation proof. So keep writing your letters, buddy. You know? That way, that'll be the first thing that I would pop up in front of a judge. I'd be like, yeah, you know that guy who...
This guy's been harassing me since March. He's been harassing me to talk about his macaroni and cheese bullshit and his bullshit with the Connecticut bar since March. He's harassing me. Stop harassing me, Bruce. I don't want to hear from you. I am not going to have you on my program. You are not welcome on my show. I do not want to write an article about you. I don't know why you won't take no for an answer, but it's starting to get really fucking creepy. And I would like you to stop now.
Bubbles. Bubbles.
I'm not kidding. I am a woman. It's nighttime. I'm alone in my house, and I'm starting to get creeped the fuck out by Bruce being in my inbox all the time. It's like he's peering through my window. Back the fuck off, Bruce. I don't want you here.
I'm standing in my glass window. I'm going to back my thing up. You watching? Oh, yeah, back that thing up.
Oh, my God. I'm so done with this.
What's amazing, though, look, what he's saying about ambulance chaser is he's like, unlike Larry, I don't do personal injury law. So ambulance chaser, he's trying to say, oh, well, that's only about personal injury. No, dude, it goes beyond that.
It means a lawyer who chases after a case that he thinks is going to be lucrative for his own benefit. And that fits you to a T, Bruce. That's who you are. And I have the proof. We have the proof out of your own damn mouth. And this is going to be Exhibit B after Exhibit A, which is all your fucking letters to us. Here's Exhibit B. You can pull it up.
Let me get it. Give me 1 second. I was locked on the screen. Give me a second. I got to roll back. All right. Is this which am I pulling up? Oh, you're okay.
My screen.
This right here? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's Exhibit B. We have a 2-minute, I think it's 2 minutes long.
That Bruce wants fame is bullshit, because the first time I ever spoke with Bruce, he blatantly told me he doesn't want to be a YouTuber or anything, and he just wants to help his client in this instance, and I respected him for saying that. You know, I didn't know what his aspirations were coming into all this. But
I want to thank them. I want to thank them for pointing out. I mean, they made it clear as day that Bruce was not in it for the money. So I want to thank them for that.
Well, I, you know, when I got involved at first, it was just because I thought I could help by doing something very simple, which was this 12B1 motion. And then when I, you know, got more and more into, you know, it and seeing what was going on, I also decided I had to do something. You know, I could help in a more meaningful way. And I also saw it. I mean, I've never been, you know, coy about this. I also was trying at the time originally to get my macaroni and cheese cover-up story covered by a YouTuber or a law tuber. I still do want that. And I...
Oh!
Huh. So it's about his story. That's interesting. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, and not only
I've
that,
never been coy about it, he says. I want my story covered by a law tuber. And I still want that. Well, you're fucking out of luck now, because LawTube hates you. Because you've threatened and now sued Larry And Larry is one of the big guys in LawTube. So good luck, Bruce, because there are very few people in LawTube who would give you the time of day after doing that to one of theirs.
Not just that, man. What? So you wanted it covered, and Larry talked about it, and then he didn't. So then you went after Larry? Huh. That's how that seems to me.
That's exactly what he did. And he's not done telling on himself. There's more.
Hope that it will, because it's a big scandal and it needs to be told. And I
No, it's not a big scandal. It's a really boring story.
believe it'll lead to a current sitting Connecticut U.S. District Court federal judge being exposed for something very serious.
Wait.
Delusional.
Wait. Okay. He told us that we can't go after judges. We can't talk about judges. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you, you monster. You know, you wrote a letter to Law 360 saying that, talking about that poor, unfortunate soul that is the grudge judge, us talking about that was wrong.
A sitting judge, that we went after a sitting judge. How dare we? And what is he talking about? He thinks he's going to put a corrupt judge away somewhere? Huh. Really? So he can talk about corrupt judges, but we can't, Tug. Do you see how this works? Free speech for Bruce and nobody else. I don't think I could hate this guy more at this point.
Like, well, I guess he sent that to both of us because I say we can keep up our thing.
Oh yeah, thanks for your input, Bruce.
As well as the cover up of that when it occurred by disciplinary officials, and I'm trying to get that story told. And I saw this case, and it's an opportunity to increase my profile quite.
An opportunity to what? Now, of course, the smoker over here has her smoker's cough right over the word we need to hear. So let's try to hear that again. You're going to have to sit through one of the Butter Twins smoker's cough to hear it.
Increase my profile quite.
Whoa, wait, I didn't go back far enough.
Opportunity to increase my profile.
Increase my profile. An opportunity to increase my profile. I saw this story and I saw it as an opportunity to increase my profile. Oh, do go on, Bruce.
Quite frankly, so when my other story of corruption is being suppressed in Connecticut, which it is, then I need to somehow get it out there. And by increasing my profile, I'll be able to have a better opportunity to get that picked up by a journalist who looks at what I've done in this case. But that doesn't mean that I am one iota less zealous in pursuing justice.
No, it actually means you're more zealous because you have you're trying to gain personally from this, which you just admitted.
You take down a big YouTuber, right? Then, hey, you got your profile, you got your clout. Huh, fascinating.
And protecting Michelle Preston's rights just because this began as sort of a means to an end, let's say. It's still an end in and of itself, especially as I've gotten more and more involved and I've seen how big this is and how egregious it is. It's become, truly, an end in and of itself. And then I still intend later on to try to get this scandal told. And I'm hoping, I'll have a lot of help from my new friends on YouTube.
Oh my God. And by the way, somebody needs to tell the Butter Twin over here about the cough button. Ma'am, if you want a professional show, don't cough into your microphone while your guest is speaking. There's a mute button for a reason. Jesus.
Yes. Actually, most microphones have two ways to mute. In fact, we can mute on the mic and we can mute through whatever service that you're utilizing.
It's not that hard. Just push your mute button. Don't cough into people's ears. It's gross. What even was that? Like right in over your guest?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
So he's sitting around now listening to he's listening to the stream. I figured he would be, but listening to us and emailing me after I've made it clear I don't want to hear from him anymore. So I wonder how that is going to be seen. And by the way, Bruce, I'm telling you this right now. Keep it up. Keep emailing me and harassing me after I told you I don't want to hear from you. And I'll report it. because I'm starting to get the stalker vibe from you. And I don't want to hear from you anymore. So serve me or shut the fuck up and leave me alone. I'm done with you now. You are harassing me and I want it to stop. Period.
This letter. You're not interested in reporting accurate info, only in quick, easy content that assures large view numbers. Man.
Well, that sounds like a really smart business plan, actually. Quick, easy content that assures lots of viewers. Yeah, sounds great. Yep.
Yeah, I cover cases that I find interesting and
that are easy for me to cover. Sure. Yeah.
And also, that allows me to cover other cases that are important to me, you know?
Yeah, for instance, like the other day when I did a broadcast about medical kidnappings in Georgia, I didn't make a dime on that show. Not a penny. Not one super chat on that show. But I continue to cover those stories because they matter. Because they're important. No, they're not the most entertaining, and they're really hard to listen to because of how upsetting they are about the government stealing children from families with the help of hospitals. It's not pleasant, and I have maybe a fraction of the audience I normally have, but I continue to tell the stories, even though I don't make a dime on them, because they are important. But that means I still have to tell the entertaining stories that do make the money. Otherwise, I can't afford to sit and tell the stories that don't make any money.
Then we get the soapbox. You've both lost your way from when you embarked on your YouTube ventures.
How does he know what way I wanted to go? How do you know what way I was headed? How do you know what I want for my life, Bruce? You don't.
Every case I've covered, I've run into people just like this. Every one of them, you know. And they don't always turn out the way they should in court either. You know, the Vic Mignogna thing, for example, did not turn out the way that it should have. That's why I talked about tortious interference being difficult, no matter if you're in the right. People were contacting conventions, costing this man employment. They were knocking out, you know, he was supposed to be at multiple places, and only one place stood up to it. All these people were destroying him, and a judge called that free speech. So, yeah, it's not easy, but it's right, because people decided to destroy him after that, you know. I mean, plenty of cases just like that. But step back and examine yourselves. Maybe you'll see I'm not the parasite. You are.
No, you're a total parasite. That actually describes you perfectly, Bruce. You are a blood-sucking parasite.
This next part is interesting because it's ironic to hear you accuse me of seeking fame off what the hell's coattails. He just talked about that in that clip. He said that he was trying to make his profile bigger so he could get what he wanted personally out there. All about him, because people wouldn't cover it. So that's exactly what he's doing there. But as Megan noted, your entire YouTube channel subsists off riding coattails, i.e. parasitically.
That is not what I said at all. That is not what I said at all. You are mixing up metaphors. I actually said the coattails analogy is wrong. I used a wave analogy, and you weren't listening. Because I said we ride the YouTube wave, and some stories will crest and then fall, and you have valleys where stuff is slow, and then you catch the next wave as it comes up and ride it all the way down. That's what I said, because that is the way the news works, and that's what all media companies do. And on YouTube especially, it comes in waves. I said the coattails analogy was actually the wrong one. So fuck off.
Dude, I covered that Deb trial for years of my time. And everyone, when I first started covering it, I was covering it in the middle of Me Too. And Me Too, good Lord. The stuff I had to deal with off of that was absolutely insane. But you saw how it ended. You know, everyone saw how it ended, and they think, oh, well, you know, it was that way. No, it wasn't. It was bad. And
it was a really needed case to put a nail in the coffin of the Me Too movement. And I was covering that too. I had written a book about I wrote a book called Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo. And that case came along right after, like a year after I published that book. And so it became really relevant again. And it was a huge deal for me to cover that. And that's not riding coattails. It's just catching the public interest where it's at the right time. And you got to be better at it, I guess, Bruce, because you haven't figured out how to do it. So I'm sorry that you don't know how to do that. I'm sorry that you don't have a YouTube career or that you don't have better YouTube friends, but you're not really good at making friends. Maybe you should work on that first, because you're no good at it. All these law tubers that you wanted to cover your story, you made them enemies. And that's on you.
It's just amazing to see, you know.
He needs play therapy. He needs play therapy. He needs to go to one of those therapists.
I was going to talk about it. He's apparently a therapist. He knows how therapy works. He's going to have a talk with me about it, because apparently that's his place. Because in addition to law, he knows. As i.e. parasitically profiting off coverage of others' travails and misfortunes while the story is hot. But I'm not even getting paid. Yeah, you're not getting paid. Right. You're not getting paid right now.
Oh, he didn't get all that money that she raised, the $10,000?
If it didn't, what's he getting paid for? You know, he's getting paid. He wants exposure. He doesn't. He's saying that he doesn't want money. Okay, well maybe you don't, but you're profiting. You're attempting to profit. You're attempting to build your freaking your case, the one case that you really want, and you're doing it. The misfortune of Jeremy Hales. That's the way I see it.
Yep.
But sure, I'm the parasite for helping the victims of the Hales and your bullying and harassment, which you profit from. Did this to me. Mr. Lewis. You know, now Mr. Lewis again.
Oh, here we go.
It's particularly troubling that you profit off the bullying of Miss Preston and Mr. Cook when you were an anti-bullying counselor. Now, this is what I'm talking about. He mentions an article here. So doxers dug up an old place that I worked. And in that, you did like a newsletter. It was internal. You know, we had so many words. You know, it's just something to talk about. And I did a one on bullying and some other stuff. This guy has never dealt with people like that. You need to shut the fuck up. I'm talking about little kids that have their lives absolutely destroyed by things you can't imagine. Maybe you could. Maybe... I don't know. Again, we've talked about things that destroy kids' lives, giant red flags, maybe you could. But the really interesting thing here that tells me where it comes from, there are no such things as anti-bullying counselors. That is terminology that was used by doxers. So this guy
Was this back in the Taylor Lorenz days?
This is from the...
Where he got that from?
No, this is from... So, during the Vic Mignogna stuff, that's when people started
Okay, that's when the doxers started. Okay.
They called this place that I wasn't there for, by the way. This is a place that works with very high-risk at-need people. You know, and we're talking about high-risk clients. And they tied up their phone lines for days, trying to go after me. Who knows how many people they damaged there. But again, that wording, see, I figure, this is the way I'm seeing this, that same information that was posted about my private life and stuff, I talked about it. Again, I'm not going to get into it. Yesterday, though, I talked about it a lot. If you guys want to look at that, it is there. I try to be open about it.
It was a good stream.
Yeah, I try to be very...
I know that was tough for you, and it sucks that you have to bring that stuff up. That should be really personal and private information, like nobody's business. It's really nobody's business.
You know, I learned this early on. I didn't post pictures about my kids, for example, right? You know what happened? Other people did. Monsters out there were posting pictures of my children, not me. I was trying not to do anything, but they dug and they dug until they could find something. And they were posting them. They were doing things like that, like messed up shit. So, you know, when at a certain point, I was like, either I have to be able to talk about what goes on in my personal life when it comes up, because I can either let someone have the narrative and they can run wild and they can do damage to other people. They would do damage to people I love and I care about, and that's gross, because ultimately they can't come at me. They have to go with the people, because that's what they do. They know after a while we become immune to all of this stuff, you know. I'm stoned, baby. You can't do anything to me. Like nothing. Like what are you going to do? You know, you're going to hunt up more stuff. You're going to make accusations, crazy ones. Man, I've already been there, done that.
The fact that he's bringing this up, though, from so where did you say he found this? He had to have found it on.
This was either given to him by people that, again, this was brought up by, like I said, doxers, and there's plenty of stuff that gets dug up, and including.
And this is where they put stuff on doxing sites where
Yeah.
you know it's just the worst people on earth who are doing. And by the way, I've been, you know, I think it's wrong when they do it to anybody. I think that kind of shit is terrible. But I don't think that anybody should be trying to post private information about, you know, that's not public. I am not talking about a public court case that somebody brings against somebody. That's public. But you start going into trying to find pictures of people's children that are not in the public eye. And again, Lynette, by the way, went to the press about her child and her adoption. She went to the media and gave them an entire story about her adoption. She published photos of her child on Facebook in public groups, bringing attention to that situation. Tug has never done any such thing, and people dug up pictures of his children. Gross. That's gross.
Yeah, they dug up, you know, again, like accusations from personal life, which a year later, I can tell you I know with certainty after. I'll mention this. I hate dancing around stuff. I hate doing that. My wife had alcohol problems for 2 years. During those times, she's gone in, gotten help, everything else. But during that time, I was responsible 100% for my kids. And, you know, after everything that she's gone in, cleaning up her life, looking at that, I know, not through communication, me to her, but just, you know, like therapists and stuff, I know that the statements there, they were made in anger. I understand it. I don't, for me, I'm not angry about that anymore. I'm not. I was at the moment, sure, you know, I was, but I look at that, I have no right to judge a person for substance abuse. I've been there, you know, but behaviors that come up, you know, you can't have that. They have to be remedied and corrected, and that's what I did. So that doesn't make me bad.
No, and you don't, in saying that you don't judge people for substance abuse problems, that, you know, I don't either, but also at the same time, we can also, as reasonable and protective adults, say, no one should have drug addicts around children. That is a reasonable thing to say. Lynette Preston invited drug addicts onto her property around her child regularly. Drug addicts, people she said were drug addicts. She said Jamie Johnson was a meth head, but she allowed this woman to come on her property with a stolen trailer, a stolen RV, and be there with her meth head boyfriend, apparently. That's what she claims. And then and she was seeing little people on the walls and all sorts of other crap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then there were 2 others that John Cook reported were on his property too. 2 other known meth heads that they just let hang out on the property. Like,
yeah,
I don't judge people for having drug problems, but I do judge people who are allegedly good parents who are allowing their children to be around druggies. That's not okay.
Well, and there's a big difference. Like if you have someone in your life that you care about and they have problems, they have a real problem and they need help. And it takes a long time to notice that. We've watched friends fall. You know, we've seen it recently. It was difficult. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not even going to mention the name on that, but people don't know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But you watch your friends struggle. You watch people that you love and you care about struggle. And in that, they're in your lives. These aren't strangers, and you try to help them. It's different. Like, I'm not going to, my kids are my world. I am the shield that keeps horror at bay. And when he talks about counseling, I understand the horrors better than most people ever would, because I sit with so many kids that had been damaged beyond repair. That's what really disturbs me about the stuff we talk about, because I've seen it and I know how hard it is to put a kid back together again. But with them, instead of focusing on that, they start focusing on the people covering it, and it happens like this every single time, every time. And like I said, with this, the thing that really bothered me is I don't want this derailing someone's progress. I hear a door, so I'm gonna watch what I say with that. But I mean, again, like I said, I went into all of that the other day, yesterday, so I don't want to belabor the point there. But with somebody acting like they know, oh, here's a kid. Give me a second. She's coming down the steps.
Sure.
Hey, kiddo.
Can we get when we're done with vacation? Can we get cheese pizza and Papa when we're done with vacation?
Well, you go rest tonight, and then we will talk about pizza and everything else.
Oh, that little voice, so cute.
But you got to get rest tonight, because if you're not rested up, you won't enjoy vacation. Yes, we are going on vacation, aren't we, kiddo? Yeah. All right, close the door for me, okay?
She is so excited about that vacation, too.
She's very excited. I mean, we're
so cute. I love how she says vacation.
Yeah. Well, she thought we were going to fly on a plane. So, and she was like, "Dad, will you hold my hand? Because I'm nervous about it." And I was like, "Well, I would always hold your hand, first of all, always. I'll put you on my back if I need to, but we're not going to fly. We're going to drive, so we'll be okay." But it was so cute. She's like, "I'm nervous." I was like, oh, yeah. But no, we're doing a reset. I'll still do some live streams, because that's what I do. But, it'll be a good mental cleanser. That's what we've been working on in our private life. The things that these people dug up. We've been working to a point where that's not around anyone. That's not that's not the reality, because that's not the reality in which I try to live. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't come up in your mind, or, you have a moment, man, but you live now and you live the future. But him bringing up counseling just is so irritating. You can tell these people have no idea about counseling, because they use words like anti-bullying counselor. If you talk about bullying, that's not what you're doing. I work in low-income areas. I worked as a catch-all therapist. You're just, it would be like a general practitioner doctor, I guess is the best way to look at that. You have community mental health, you have poor people. I grew up poor, and we had nothing. I don't want to talk about this for a minute. Give me a minute, okay?
Yeah. Guys, digging up stuff like this about people is wrong.
I'm good. I just, I get more upset about thinking about growing up, because these people don't know, man. They don't know what poverty is. They talk about poor people and stuff, man. They don't know. They've never lived that life, They've never gone to school with holes in your shoes and holes in your clothes, and they've never been there. But they use it as a weapon. They use it as like the poor, disabled. You're making fun of poor people. Yes. Well, fuck them, man.
And also trying to tell us that poor people, that's how they live. What you're seeing in Lynette's property, that's just poverty. No.
I mean, we live poor. We live proud.
Right.
Proud. Yeah.
That's the worst stereotype of poor people ever, that they're, living in filth.
Yeah.
Because that's not true. That's just a stereotype.
She wasn't poor either. She had a house and sold it, man. She had money.
And it was a beautiful house. We saw the pictures of, the Zillow, the for sale pictures. It was a beautiful house. I don't know why anybody would leave that to go live on a dump, a literal dump, a garbage dump.
Talking about kids, I try not to get into that subject. Not my kids, just talking about counseling. I stopped working with kids like these because it messes you up inside. And it makes me emotional every now and then. You know,
Yeah.
I think about those. Think about some of those cases, man. And for people like him to bring that up and pretend that they do good in the world really bothers me. I hate slacktivists, and I hate people that insert themselves like this. Because what good do they really do? They can buzzword shit, but man, what have they really done? You know, have they tried to make that kid's life better? Have they really gone out there and tried to clean up the environment or anything else? No, of course not. That's too much work, right?
No, he's going to take the money that people are giving her. For some reason, they're giving her money for legal help instead of just giving the money to clean up that property. And the money's just going to get poured into the lawyer's pockets. It's not going to help her at all. The only people who ever win in any of this are always the lawyers. And I love lawyers, don't get me wrong, but those are the only people winning in any situation like this. The lawyers.
Yes, that is something you learn in litigation. Even the greatest lawyer, they still do the only people that win.
They're the ones that win.
You pay through the nose for it. You know?
And most of the time, you know, the people who poured their life savings and whatever they could raise into these lawsuits, they end up, whether they win in court or not, it has taken up years of their lives and energy. And for what? I don't have a real high, you know, hopes for any of these lawsuits, to tell you the truth. I don't think any of them have any hope. I know you were talking about the federal case, the Hale's case, a couple days ago. Those tortious interference cases are extremely hard to win.
I mean, you know, if he went, awesome there. And I don't want to sound like I'm like, you have no case, because that's not what I'm saying.
No, but they're just really hard to win.
Yeah,
they're really hard to win. It's a very difficult case to win, but it should be interesting to watch. But you know what the best way forward to do, if you can avoid court, avoid it. If you can avoid lawsuits, avoid them.
But see, people like Bruce didn't allow that. Okay, like DUI guy's the perfect example. DUI guy went in, he did something, you know.
He tried to avoid it.
Yeah, he obscured her image, you know. He, I mean, honestly, when people look at that, who is that person? Honestly, like most people wouldn't even know who that person is anyway, you know. If they, if they're looking at that, they know Jeremy Hales, and then they notice the horror. That's why I hate the thumbnail lawsuit to begin with. Because, you know, she's bringing them profit. Oh no, not even. You know, and it made it relevant, like was discussed in that first email, because of the rights that were trampled on, and from there everybody branched out and looked at the insanity. You know, and it became more and more of a public interest story like that.
All right, I have to go in like 10 minutes to get
Let me finish this
the girls, but yeah, I want to finish this.
Your attached article, okay, so I didn't leave the article on there, but I and my clients are willing to let bygones be bygones. I don't expect a response, but this guarantee remains as long as there is no further mention of my client by name or reference on your YouTube channels. It is automatically rescinded if you further coverage or make disparaging comments about Miss Preston or Mr. Cook going forward. Mr. Preston fucking pulled a gun on a child. You
can make disparaging comments about anybody you want.
Sue me over sue me over John Cook. Like,
oh my God, this is America. You are allowed, free speech insists that you are allowed to make disparaging comments. Who do you think you are? You can tell people not to make disparaging comments about somebody. Fuck off, Bruce. I'm going to disparage you all day long. I can make disparaging comments about you, your client, my neighbor, you know, your neighbor, anybody I want. It's absurd. What does that even mean? Disparaging comments.
He's just telling you, you can't talk about it. Again, it goes back to the same thing. You know, it's so ridiculous. In the unlikely event you choose to avail yourself the repose being offered here, understand you may need some sort of announcement about your decision to drop off the What the Hell's saga. So, not only were we supposed to stop, we were supposed to make a public announcement. I'm quitting here. Oh, man.
Here's my public announcement. Fuck off, Bruce.
If you accept this proposal, I will refrain from sharing this email with Two Lees or anyone else. So
why do I care? Who he
Not only
shares
that,
his
man,
emails with.
So you're sharing these threats. You're sharing them with other channels. You're getting your little applause, ha ha ha, and they're talking shit about the people that.
Oh no, he's gonna tell some podcast that I never listened to about this letter he sent. What? Why do I care?
Not only that, these morons don't understand the jackpot that this guy puts them in because he wants to open a litigation floodgate. Do they think that they'll be saved? Do they think somehow the flood will miss them? Because it won't. And I'm not talking about suing you. I have no interest in suing you. You can dislike me all day long. You know,
Right, me too. I don't want to take anybody to court. Whatever. I believe in free speech. If you want to talk a bunch of shit about me, go ahead. My audience knows me. My audience knows what I'm about and what my show is about and what I think. And if I have to correct something, I'll correct it with more speech. I don't believe in shutting down people's free speech. And I don't believe that if you hurt my feelings that that's somehow actionable. It's not.
I'm wondering if his clients include these people. If they've signed something with him. Because you know what? He's leading you down a dangerous path with this kind of stuff. Because ultimately, you know, unless you're well off, and even if you are, do you want to spend your money on that? Because, you can get some filings. Whoopty shit. You're still going to, and in the event that you lose, you've got a lot more coming there. So, but not sharing and or B, talking about your past conduct, other than to note that you've chosen to stop covering the story and giving you appropriate credit for such decision. Oh man, he's not going to talk about past conduct. I actually take that as a threat too. Does he mean talking about what the hells, or does he mean relying more on doxers? Because you know that kind of action right there, that opens up a lot of doors, man. And that is not a threat. That is simple reality.
Well, yeah, or anyone else talking about your past conduct. Look, I don't know if he's just talking about you or me. I don't have any past conduct. There's nothing out there. I've never been arrested. I've been married to this man for 24 years.
Yeah, but there's crazy people that allege shit about.
Oh, they'll make shit up. Yeah, for sure. People will be out there making shit up. But again, I don't. I already have that happening. There are already crazy people out there making shit up about me. I don't care.
Well, the same people that did all of that stuff, they made a story and tried to push it around that I had met my wife when she was a 14-year-old.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was like, when I was school counselor, I was like, I've never been a school
that.
counselor. You know, I've never had that. You know,
that was terrible.
I was like, good God, because they tried to go after and try to ruin my life with some kind of weird accusation. I was like, what the fuck? You know? But, I mean, is that what we're going to go with? Are you going to call me a racist and a sexist? What you going to go with? I mean, who gives a fuck? But, like, again, it's a dangerous thing because everyone has people that they care about. And they invite not A or B, like myself or yourself and other people out there. They invite unknowns, people that will take zeal, they don't care about Jeremy Hales or Lynette Preston or any of us. They will just take zeal in targeting people. And everyone has loved ones, man, and this just invites them in. So I've seen it everything I've ever covered. Nobody ever heeds what I'm saying right here.
I know, they never do. They always want to go for it.
And then they
go for it.
Yeah, and they credit, they're like, they're doing it, you know, that Megan or and I'm like, no, man, go back to what I said. I said, hey, you're going to invite that in, you're doing it. No. I'm going to laugh, though, I'm going to laugh at that deposition. I'm going to enjoy it. And it is about a case that it definitely is allowed to be covered. But anyway,
yeah,
you
me
can call
too.
him if you
I
want
think
to.
by on Tuesday, I'm thinking about going over and some more of that deposition. Now that I have the uncut version with Mo in the Deep End, who will be appearing in a special wig for the event. Should be hilarious.
I need to catch up on that other judge. I need to cover some of that too. I need to find time to go because
you should do the ex parte hearings. I think I still haven't done those, and there's like 3 of them where he talks to Lynette without Jeremy. It's horrible. All right, I have to run. I've got to go pick up the girls at homecoming before they disappear with some like handsy boy.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on, Megan. You know,
Okay. See you guys. Bye, chat. Oh, Wendy, or was it Wendy? No, Wanda. Wanda, thank you so much for the $2 you sent me on Cash App. I appreciate that. So I made $2 tonight, Doug.
Woohoo!
$2.
Man, hey,
that's $2
that's
more
awesome.
than I had
Well,
earlier.
If people want to super chat, I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, great. You can't have my $2 though. It's all mine. See ya.
All right, see ya. But yeah, I mean, for people looking at this is definitely. I mean, how would you take this? Is this a threat to sue? Absolutely. It says that it's not, but it is. It 100% is. When you read it, you know, if you drop the case cold turkey, I guarantee you will not eventually be sued by. That's 100% a promise there. I'll tell you, if a lawsuit comes, it comes. I've done my best to, I placated them one time, but I'm not placating them by turning a blind eye to something that happens. And when I look at this, I've told you what I think about this case. I've based it on everything that I've pulled up. I've covered a lot there. You know, now Brucey, I imagine, is irritated because we would not cover his filings. Actually, I did cover one of his filings. You know, one of the ones talking about the federal case. And sooner or later, I will probably catch all of it up because I like to make sure that I cover everything with it. But this is definitely telling us, you know, oh yeah, you're going to get sued. 100%. And it's fascinating. Again, he's saying that John Cook, well, disparaging John Cook? Are you kidding me with that? Because his client's own words, again, I don't know how he reconciles that. You have one client that has said awful things about the other one, that has accused them of heinous things. You've had people that just sent me pictures of, talking about those airport pictures. Again, 9 of them, they themselves made accusations. So I really, they made accusations about Lynette too. They made accusations about her, and saying that she told them not to report something. That the allegations are very serious. They are very troubling, giant red flags and that stuff. And saying that they're not red flags. You're going to sue people for saying that there are red flags there? Really? I've tempered a lot of my response about kid and safety. I think I've tempered it pretty well. I've talked about environment. That environment is, I mean, again, his own client says the environment is dangerous. You get a nail in your eye. You know, don't run around here. Then you have Lloyd, what Lloyd brought up. Talking about a child running around naked. You're gonna sue Lloyd too. You're gonna sue that elderly veteran. I mean, you already said you were gonna sue that elderly veteran if he continued forward with his own property. You said you were gonna file something on that. Actually, you said you were gonna sue Travis, but I imagine, you know, as it goes forward, we're talking about Lynette Preston too. I just don't know how somebody reconciles all of that stuff and pretends that it's not there. You know. You have to excuse me too. I got hit in the feels, you know, for a minute. Again, I think about being young, you know. Like I said, I don't ever want live streams to become a therapy session, but I remember like being young and not having, and I also remember clients, you know, and all that stuff, man. It's just, you know. But like I said, I remember I was lucky in that I had a parent that didn't want. I've been poor. Like these people that talk about poverty and stuff have been there. I was poor in substance. I was rich in everything else. You know, I didn't know I was poor. But I was reminded of it when I went to school and everything else, you know. Buying, like, you know, pants that I'm tall. So I hit growth spurts. You know, I couldn't afford pants. I looked like I have high waters on, you know, because my pants were too short for me. You know, and I dressed in freaking, you know, what we could afford. But like I said, I didn't realize all of that. But yeah, I mean, that hits you in the field. But it also, it's one of the reasons, like, when they bring up poverty, that it really annoys me, too. Because poverty does not mean, like I've mentioned my great-grandmama. My great-grandmama, again. It was such a shock as a kid to see, you know, her and what she had. And I never understood as a kid why she wouldn't take, like my granddad would offer, but she wouldn't take more. She didn't, you know, like I said, flooring in her house. No flooring. Can you imagine living in a house with a dirt floor? That's what she lived with, you know, and people would mock that and be like, ha, 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 man. That's what poverty really looks like, you know? But everything that she had was hers. I never understood that as a kid. You know, I never understood the pride, because that's the thing with people that are poor. That doesn't mean you don't take pride in what you own. It doesn't mean you allow other people to run it down. You invite addicts on your property. It just means that you don't have. It just kills me. Anyway. Oh. Anyway, this letter, like I said, I wanted to go over that. I usually don't talk about some of these subjects. I'm not going to make that a trend either. Like I said, you know, with Megan on here, he's talking about this stuff there. And, you know, again, that specific letter, it brought up something. Like I said, that information came from doxers. These are the same people that dug up my stepfather's obituary and would mail it to me every single day to see if it would crack me. You know, that's the kind of people that dig up information on you. They did it. They did it all the time. They did all kinds of crazy shit like that. You know, that's part of being a YouTuber, I guess. You deal with, you know, because you talk about a case. Every case is just like, it's like on repeat. And you tell people, like, there's a certain threshold. You can see this place. Like, it's very clear where the case begins to deviate. Where these folks, they're not talking about the people that are involved in this anymore. They're making it something different. They make it something very personal. They take aim at anybody and they try to start, they start life ruination tactics. And I'm not talking about, again, if you want to say, like, you know, hey, that dude's fat or ugly or whatever, who cares, man? You know, that's that. But it goes further. They start digging into people's lives. They start going after what they think are soft targets. And it always happens. And they'll play the victim while they're doing it too. Every single time. It happens. I've seen it in comic books. I saw it with Vic Mignogna. I saw it with coverage of Disney. I've seen that with, you know, you wouldn't think comic books, but yes, comic books. But with Disney, you saw that. Warner Brothers. I mean, it's just madness. At a certain point, things go batshit insane. And there's usually a catalyst. And I personally believe that the catalyst for a lot of that is, he wants to claim it's Jeremy Hale's. I believe that it's Bruce. He's taking aim at all these folks. Again, what he tells you is that these are acceptable targets. That's what's happened there. Of course, I'm sure he considers that defamation to say too. But you know what? I'm allowed to have my opinion based on stuff that's brought up. Again, certain statements. I know where information came from. That anti-bullying counselor thing. That it's a term that burned into my mind back when, because of, you know, I thought, these people have no idea what a counselor does. You know, you're not an anti-bullying counselor. Like, what even is that? You know, I've talked about all kinds of things. I've talked about, you know, I've talked to committees about substance abuse. You know, I've talked about so many things over time. That doesn't make me that. It's something that you discuss, and I discuss some of that here too. But anyway, like a pack of rabid dogs. Yeah, sometimes it gets like that actually. And you know, again, this is something I want to note too. Like I said, what you'll see is this attract another group of people. You know, you won't have, it'll get blamed on one or the other side of something, but what they do is they bring in another element, and that other element will take zeal in digging through people's lives. They will target everyone in your life. I've been there, I've seen it happen again and again. Like for myself, I don't do that because I don't see any personal. There's no gain in it. You know, there's nothing. It's nasty. It's repulsive. But there are people out there, like we were talking about yesterday. There are people, if you think there's a line in the sand, that's because you think there's a line in the sand. You know, proverbial sand. But there are people out there that will definitely cross it. There is no real line. It's a self-assumed. You know, it's self-assumption, self-imposed. But it's also an assumption that you think other people are going to follow by that. The majority of people aren't like that. But there are horrible people out there. And we know that. We see them in cases, you know. But everything, for every horrible person that gets exposed, God, how many other horrible people are out there? But anyway, let's hit some super chats there. All right. Angel, look at that, man. Angel, man, lit it up there. Check this out. Started out with 10 gifted memberships. Then dropped another 10 gifted memberships. And on top of that, dropped another 10 gifted memberships. So 30 gifted memberships that kicked this thing off. Thank you very much there. I appreciate it. Like I said, with subjects like this, I don't do videos anymore. I'll probably start returning to doing more short. I'm going to try, you know, as time allots it, I'm going to try that. But with live streams, you know, live streams are their own beast. They are more or less supported by the people that enjoy the content or they find it interesting. So it's people like yourselves. So thank you. I appreciate it. Linguist, thanks for the 2. Deuce Despicable. What a joke. LOL. Yeah, you know, and in talking about him, like, you know, with Megan saying, you know, I'm tired of talking about him. He's not even, he would be just like the other lawyers that are there. Like, typically, if he went in and he represented, let's just say he decided to represent her and, you know, he was doing a depo or whatever. Okay. It'd be just like anyone else. Now, they're open to criticism because they're a lawyer out there. Their filings, you can, of course, criticize them. You can look at them and think, man, this person, you know, they're the greatest or they're an idiot. You know, it just depends. But you don't typically spend time talking about them. They also don't typically spend all their time threatening people. You know, and again, they have sued people that I know. Like I said, I like DUI Guy. I consider DUI Guy a friend online here. And as such, when you go after friends, of course, I'm going to look at it. And yeah, that is personal, too. That is personal. I took aim with frivolous litigation.
You need to get more melatonin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to the super chats.
Lord.
Y'all are awesome.
She can't sleep.
The
She was
buzz
like that.
of you.
It's so funny. All right, close the door, please.
Okay.
All right. I told her the other day, she was like, I can't sleep. You know, and I was like, well, they have kids' melatonin. And I was like, but, you know, I'm not, I'll get it in an extreme situation or something. And she's like, I need it. You know, I can't sleep right now. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. So that's what I was hearing there, you know. Get some melatonin, get more. I was like, you know, we had some from where there was a sickness about 2 years ago. And he's like, I need some sleep. I'm like, man, no, that's not how it works. What you do is you decompress, you know, and you sleep. Oh, Lord. She's hilarious about that stuff, though. The kids are funny. That's one thing. That's the reason I take some of that personally, too. Because the kids, you know, at the end of the day, kids don't understand any of this. They can't hear it, by the way. When they come in, they can hear me talk, but they can't hear this. I have headphones on, you know. And then when they walk in for the screen, I have a power button that's over here. I turn off the screen. So, I watch the chat on my phone. But I turn off the screen so they can't see what I'm reading or anything else. So, you know, that's why I'm like, up, kid, bam, because I can't see anything that's going on. You know, that's like if somebody's pulled up something or whatever, I turn it off real quick. But they don't realize how crazy that world is. I don't ever want them to understand that, you know. Never. You know, in fact, they think, you know, she's talking about, man, I want to be like, yeah, here's a crazy thing. I used to do story time with the kids. I would have, when I was a smaller channel, I'd have the kids come on and they would tell a story with me. You know, she would just make up stories with her toys and stuff. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. But I had to stop doing that with all the weirdos, you know, because she can read. And you can't police them out of the comments or anything else. It's wild how people are. Writer Chick. Thanks for the gifted membership there. Appreciate that. Thank you. Shelley, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Thugs. Sue, slow down the chat. I actually was reading it. I realized for the mods, it's a little more there. With the flow of the chat, I don't know. At its level, I also haven't been, I mean, there's been 2,000 people. I don't know. It just didn't register to me. So I've meant to. Like I said, I'll be away from home. I'll take my computer and my microphone. We will stream some. You know, when people are doing whatever, you know, that actually helps pay for us to go away. You know, but it'll be, I think tomorrow, there's a new DEP thing. I haven't talked about anything DEP related in a long time, but there was a new item. If I have a chance, I'll probably go over. Like, there's a new documentary. But yes, sir. Sorry about that. I didn't see it. Brandis, thanks for the 5 there. You know, it's funny for your name, by the way, just a note. If you're there, before I say your name, I think, Candace, how do I pronounce your name? So after you said that, that's how I think about it every time. I mentally tell myself that. I'm pretty sure in Jeremy Hale's video from today, officers, audio, she says, call Bruce while they're getting Lloyd's camper. Huh. Like, I feel so far behind on that stuff. You know, today we were going to actually cover some more video. We were talking about what we were going to cover here, and we were actually going to bring up some others. And then we got the email this morning. Like, I think when somebody threatens to sue me, I think that is something to discuss. You know, people have no idea too. Like, I feel for Jeremy Hales and a lot of that, because people have no idea what people trying to financially intimidate you looks like. You know, because I know when something comes up, like I can be like, look, this is bad. You know, I'm gonna put up a GoFundMe or something. But still, you know, you always worry about stuff like that. They also, as part of that, they take away your time. They inconvenience you. It's just ridiculous nonsense. But you run into these frivolous people sometimes that have nothing on their hands. They don't seem like it. Again, he's like, oh, that's defamation. It doesn't seem like you got anything else going on. You know? Paulinero, thanks for the super chat there. Doesn't allow a statement, but like I said plenty of times. First of all, you're here all the time. Appreciate the heck out of you. Thank you. But also, thank you there, too. Z Wills, thanks for the month there. Some people need to give their head a wobble. And some need to pull it out of their backsides first. Yes, indeed. It feels like it, doesn't it? Chaz, thanks for 10. $9.99 donations for Tug to have an oxygen tank ready for when he watches videos. Indeed. I'm ready to get back to some laughing stuff. You know. Bruce from Oregon, thanks for the 5. Motion to compel this Bruce guy to change his name. Poor Bruce. Man, I'm sorry for you, buddy. I'm sorry, Bruce. I, on behalf of all YouTubers, apologize to anyone else named Bruce. Some of us are using the name for good out there. Yes, all the Bruces unite. Unite. Sarah, thanks for the 2. She uses that straw like she did the bowl. Mac and Cheese Moron Esquire. What a name. Thanks for the 5 there. Please refrain from speaking of the Stanley straw without paying proper royalties. Talking to my cease and desist as we speak. Yes, representing the straw. Rick Nikita, thanks for 5. Why do you have different opinions than me? Grr. Indeed, you know. I mean, like I said, that case, Megan's not on here, so I'll just mention it. Like the Ricada case, that has been a hotbed of disagreement between people. You know, there's been so much disagreement, and it's so polarized. But you can see there is no universal narrative for anything. People have their own opinions, and they make them very clear. And I find it, like I said, I find it fascinating that all these folks, just because some, you know, there are a lot of lawyers out there. Like, I'm not a lawyer, first of all, but I cover cases. So you get included in quote unquote LawTube. Mega's not a lawyer, you know, but it was supposed to be shorthand for lawyers covering cases. That was LawTube. But now it's supposedly it's like some kind of in-group where everybody has the same opinions. And like you said, if you don't have the same opinions, apparently that's litigation. Crazy times there. Liz, thanks for 2. Megan stuck up for Lynette a fair few times. There are certain issues. Like, again, I have tried to be very fair on certain items. And to know, like I said, when I talk about concern about certain situations, I want to offer maybe a way, you know, he brought up the kid as a client. I want to offer, like I said, you know, the environment, clean up the environment. John Cook, if he really is the red flag they say he is, you know, and it's been noted again and again, maybe that doesn't need to be there. When talking to your kids, like have certain tones with your kids. You know, these are things that we're talking about, again, correcting environment, taking away red flags, and utilizing coping skills. I feel like, you know, when somebody, if you yell and yell and yell, that can be a way that you cope with reality, but it's not healthy. You know, if I get mad now or say punch a wall, that's not, I'm coping, but it's not healthy. That doesn't dissuade any of my concerns necessarily. There are many concerns, but I've tried to offer that there too. And there are certain, you know, I don't think it's defensible when somebody is putting up signs that call somebody an ARPist. Like that line, again, in others, people, and it allows terrible things to happen. And I know my response to that would be very extreme. If you're trying to ruin my life, well, I would definitely try to defend myself. I would make video of everything. I would make sure that I put that out there. That would be my extreme. When I say extreme, you have to react to it to make sure you don't get hurt in the process, you know, so. Rick, thanks for the 2. Tug, did you check out JK's song about Deuce? Maybe. I saw 3. So I think I did see that specific one. You know, but I saw actually 3 songs that dealt with that. So I'll have to have like clarification on which one. Cunning Linguist, thanks for the 2. Now that you're all involved, you can cover all of it. Indeed, You know, that's the thing too. We're not supposed to cover a case where we're being threatened with litigation by the guy that that represents one of the people, or that sued again DUI guy. See, the DUI guy lawsuit would bring it right up there, because you talk about the thumbnail litigation, but everything that led up to it. It's just like anything else. That's how it works, man. George, thanks for the $3 super sticker there. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Wheezy Wheels, thanks for the 5. If it looks full of and smells full of then surely they are just plain yes, indeed. The poopies. Now, this is about that video. Wolfkinder, thanks for the 2. Oh my God, the roller disco background music. Yep, indeed. Yeah. Kurt, thanks for the 2. I miss tramp stamp lawyer. Yes, indeed. Here's another thing. Like they talk about fair use and stuff. I've never made any like, don't repost my entire freaking stream or something. But beyond that, people clip you and everything. If these people bring up a clip and they disagree with it, so be it. I don't give a shit. You know? That's fair use. We are all protected under fair use with that. I don't mind it for myself. If somebody posts my entire stream or something, yeah, that might be different. I've seen that happen a few times. But I mean, if they're reposters, that's different too. But anyway, Lori, thanks for the 2. She doesn't need anyone to make her look bad. Indeed, indeed. MaxLab, thanks for the 2. Tug, check email, new document. Is it part of the federal case document? Let me look at it. Let me see what this is real fast, okay? Let me check and see what's here. That's funny. Give me 1 second. I'm looking at this. Oh, yeah, new document there. So it is a memorandum in support, a motion to leave to take deposition of plaintiff. So they're pushing for the depo. That might be interesting to talk about. Not tonight. We have a bunch of stuff, but we may look at that because they're trying to depose. Which, you know, you do get deposition. It'll be fascinating too. Are they going to pull up the deposition of Jeremy Hales? Is that their plan? Because if they do that, then, See, I'm sure that's the idea. I'm sure they're like, again, he said himself that he's trying to build up clout for himself. He's trying to get his case that he was involved in. He wants to be able to cover that. So when you look at moves, I don't just look at moves in the courtroom as they pertain to Lynette. And after that statement especially, I would look at it, how does that pertain to the lawyer? Do they benefit from it too? And we'll see later on the actions and how they do, and also the hypocrisy that comes up. Like I said, there's already hypocrisy. Certain channels are allowed to cover this, but certain channels aren't, right? Thank you, MaxLab, by the way. Appreciate the heck out of you, man. Angel, thanks for the 10. DJ Radis brought up today how Ducey didn't submit to the court his bar issues. Basically lied to the court. Brucey, did you not bring that up? Oh, yeah, I saw that Bribble Bird, by the way. Thanks for the 10. Tug, Spawn Trooper. Yeah, I was reading over all that with a Twitter DM, and they will look at. Yeah, indeed. I want to read over what's there. Spawn Trooper, by the way, I do appreciate you, too. I know. They've noted quite a few things. And had good legal takes on certain items, good social takes on certain items. So, appreciate that, too. Linda? Thank you for the super sticker there. Thank you very much. The super stickers are funny to watch. They sometimes break up the crazy. Sue noted that. Look at your super chats there. You know, talking about the Twitter DM. Thank you. Hey, Joe. Thanks for breadstick money, legal fun, anti-bruise spray. Hey, is that what this is? Check this out. Well, let me see if I still have that one. Look, check this out. Like I've got that spray in my hands, you know. I'm like, spray it out there, spray it away. Good stuff. Ryder Chick, thanks for the candy and breadstick fun because Megan made me. Oh, thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. Freeman, thanks for the 10. F. Bruce. Is that free Bruce? Fun Bruce? I'm going to play my, at the end of this, I'm going to play the new song, by the way, because it'll have more reference to the new letter, the I'm suing, but I'm not suing letter. Came out Red Queen, thanks for 5. Hair and bubblegum fun. Ooh, yeah, they love the bubblegum for sure. The little one loves bubblegum. Deanne, thank you for the $10 super sticker there. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Rachel, thanks for the 2. You two are a great pain reliever for me. I'm glad, you know. Like I said, there's been a few serious, I don't like being very serious with stuff, so I don't plan on being serious all the time. You know, like I said, apologies for getting the feels for a minute too. I don't like that either, you know. But I mean, I do try to live honestly and talking about what comes up. Freeman, thanks for the 10. F. Bruce, F in the Brucey. Free Bruce. Oh, wait, that's not it. Niece, thanks for the 10. Megan, hair care for naturally curly hair is a whole new ball game. Our daughter has curly hair, and I have to stick straight up hair. Our hair care is totally different. Yeah, my daughter has curly hair, and that's interesting. Like me as a dad figuring out, you know, the funniest thing, you all would have laughed at it because I went over and I took my daughter to try on clothes. You know, I've done that before, but, you know, as she ages, you know, you get into like some other stuff. For men, it's pretty cut and dry. For like women, girls, man, it's so bizarre, you know, and people would help like random, you know, like women look at you like you're a fish out of water, and they'd be like, hey, you know, you need help. I actually thought that was really nice of people. You know, I had to give women like props out there. You know, people like yourself. If you see a guy with kids, not some guy wandering around, but you see a guy with his kids over there, and it looks like a fish out of water. Thank you for for helping out and explaining some of this stuff, because my guy. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Vanessa, thanks again. Check my DMs. Yep, I did. Thank you. Thanks too, Vanessa. Appreciate you. Sue, thanks for the tip. Megan, please tell Tug to check his DM. Oh, I'll be going through there. Hey, what's up, stick print? Love you guys too, by the way. Hey, Megan, how's the hair? I'm gonna tell her about all these. I'm gonna send her pictures of these afterwards. I'm going to be like, look, all these people were asking about your hair. And she'll be like, damn it, Doug. Those super chats. Kim, thanks for the 5 there. BM, 2 pieces in a pond, homemade toilet. Someone call Mario and Luigi. He'll love you, Tug and Megan. It's fascinating because I feel like Bruce is this catalyst for nastiness between YouTubers. You know, I wouldn't even know who these people are. Like the thing that really pointed me to them, like I was showing you the letters he sent. The reason I knew about that channel at all is because he tagged him when he sent me the airport photos. He carbon copied that channel. And now he's mentioned them again. Oh, well, if you don't do this, I'm not going to share that with them. Like I said, when they're sitting there applauding this, oh, bravo. Just remember, like, when this idiot opens up a floodgate, and if lawsuits come your way, not from me, again, I'm not suing anybody, I don't plan on that. But if you get sued and you find out that the reality is this person leaves you high and dry, their advice maybe wasn't, you have to watch out for you. You know, warring with you, it'll work for a little while. It'll work out for you for a little while. But long term, it'll just dry out like channel content. You know, you get like maybe you get a couple of thousand views on something, you can get some views at first. But after a while, if you build everything on that one thing, man, it'll just wash your channel away sooner or later, too. Like Laura Owens, thanks for relax. High school dances are safe nowadays. Trust me, I know. Absolutely nobody pawed at me at mine. Wow, I'm shocked by that. I'm shocked by that claim. I figured be getting pregnant from there. Cakes, thanks for the vibe. Is it legal for a lawyer to solicit a client from a different state? I don't know. I don't know the legal items for anything. I do find it interesting that, again, if you look at how this stuff played out, it looks and sounds very intentional. And it looked, again, by the statements that were there, from Bruce himself, it looked very intentional for himself, his own motives. Dan, thanks for the vibe. Megan, I would love to see you in a debate with Grudge on ethics. Chew him up, spit him out. That would be fun. Isn't it interesting you're not supposed to talk about judges? That was a new one, too. I thought it was fascinating how that changed depending on the letter, too. Like we weren't supposed to talk about the grudge judge. But the judge and the macaroni and cheese, man, that guy right there, he needs action against him. Suzanne, thanks for the 20 there. Money for Tug and Megan's hair. Just adore you both. Thank you. The laughs are amazing. I do appreciate learning as unsupported. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's funny. Shifter brains. That's funny, by the way. Shifter brains. That thing's a vibe. If the story's not newsworthy, why is he contacting other YouTubers trying to get them to cover very same story? That's actually a very good point. I've never really thought about it from that angle. If it's not newsworthy, then why is he contacting media? And he said, so this item that supposedly isn't newsworthy, right? His own statement. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but that letter where Shizzy Wisnut calls him Bubbles, he said to Law 360, it's just a matter of time before this story is reported in mainstream legal media, likely even broader coverage by tech and internet. Never been a situation like it. The legal media reporter who covers it will be invited on numerous YouTube channels for legal analysis. I mean, again, yeah, if it's not newsworthy, doesn't that seem to defeat that narrative? I mean, his own letter. That is interesting. I'll have to bring that up to old DUI guy, because he wasn't tagged in that. I'm going to ask him about, hey, since you supposedly are covering this and putting this name and thumbnail in, but it's not newsworthy. And why is he saying it's newsworthy? And I think I got a kiddo coming. Hey, kiddo, what's up? What you doing, kiddo?
Good.
What you doing? Give me 5. Give me a hug. I want a hug. I need a hug real quick. Thank you. Love you. Now, hey, you need to go get some rest, though.
I can't sleep.
Well, what you do is you lay down. How about you can turn your TV on and turn it on 30-minute timer? Yeah.
Okay.
And then think about the vacation. I'll come up and I'll tuck you in good right after I'm done with this, okay?
Okay, have cheesesteak before I go to sleep? I love cheesesteak.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, actually, I'll get you something right after this, okay? I'll get you something cool. All right? But you go lay down for a few minutes, okay?
Give me cheesesteaks.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Love you. Love you.
Love you too.
Or 1 minute. Diane, thanks for the 5 there. Buy your babies dot pretzels. I'm going to check those out, by the way. I did write that down. You won't be sorry, and you can't stop eating them. Get the original ones. I actually wrote those down when they were mentioned. Write a chick, thanks for the 5. Am I wrong thinking these threats are illegal and considered as hostile and cyberstalking, as well as taking your First Amendment away? Well, here's the thing. You can go to court and, essentially, like if you contacted law enforcement and told them people are doing this, that, and the other, depending on where you live. Maybe a few states can say, I mean, we're talking like extreme actions, all right? Like the doxing and stuff, taking aim at kids, making crazy stuff. You know, most places won't take it seriously at all. They never do. You know, and they'll come back with excuses about how they can't prove, like, even if you know who a person is, like they can't prove that's the, it's just, it's so frustrating. Like it's beyond frustrating. Nadia, thanks for the month there. Bowls are gonna pop soon. Like he's popping all over the screen there. Anna, thanks for the 10. The truth always prevails. Indeed. Hopefully, you know, the truth always definitely prevails, like in the social climate. Like even if you don't, here's one of the things I've learned too. Even when people don't win in a courtroom, like I was talking about the Vic Mignogna situation, the truth still came out about that. Unfortunately, it takes a long time, and it's rough. You know, that guy took years before he had any semblance of a life. But yeah, it's a slow trickle towards it. It's also a slow trickle towards freedom. You know, but it does come. Kelly, thanks for the 5 there. Funny how on tonight's Hale's video, good old Bruce, the douche, was on the phone in part 1 with Lynette. I'll have to check that out. It's funny how she was still Silverman's client. I'd be interested. I heard, like, I haven't watched the video. Somebody mailed me and saying that Bruce was complaining that Silverman wouldn't communicate with him, which I thought was kind of fascinating. See-ha. See-ha. Thanks for the month. Don't bring me down, Bruce. Yes, don't bring me down. Lou, thanks for the 5 memberships there. Thank you very much. Like I said, I love memberships. I appreciate all you people that do that. Thank you. Cheryl, thanks for the 20. For Tug's Hair Fund. You know, I do have long hair right now. It is, I do actually have long hair. So, all those jokes about it. Janice, thanks for the 10. Lynn also used photos of her daughter on all her GoFundMe accounts. Every photo Jeremy ever used came off of Lynette's on social media. Yes, indeed. Actually, I was searching for something to find out a name. Like, to be honest, that letter he sent today, for some reason, the H.G. Preston would not register because it wouldn't register with me that he was talking about the kid. I was like, who is that? You know, again, it was just because you're talking about a little kid here. You know, he's talking about his clients. You know, you won't be sued by. And I kept thinking, who is that? That's not 18-year-old. Who is that? And I searched for it before it dawned on me. I was like, oh man, I'm slow today. But yeah, I noticed one of the first hits that I had for her was a picture of her and the kid on a GoFundMe that is still up. It's still ongoing. It's not an archive page. Like when I search her name, that's the stuff that I hit. There's that and some article that's hidden behind like an advertising paywall. I couldn't look at. Willie Billy? Willie Billy, I like that. Thanks for the 10 there. That super sticker, man, I appreciate that. Thank you, Willie Billy. Dawn, thanks for the 2. Bug's new lip gloss fun. See, Bruce, money isn't about her. That's right. It's about people support the things that they support platform. The platforms are theirs. That's what these people never understand because they've never built a platform. They've never tried anything like that. After a while, you build up. Again, I don't like the word communities, but it is. It's a community without all the stop signs and the deriving, the crazy. It's just people getting together, enjoying something, and they support independent media in it too. I never understand that though. Jack's mom, thanks for the 5 there. Tug appreciation fund donation. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cindy, thanks for the 5. We have your Tug. We have your back. We'll always uplift you. Thank you. I'm actually, like when I talk about stuff too, I don't want you thinking like I'm like in some terrible place or anything. I'm in a good place. I'm proud of the people that I love and care about. I'm proud of what they're doing in their life. So I really do want people to understand that. Like when I talk about, this was something I felt I had to talk about. It was something I would never, I didn't want somebody else taking a narrative and running with it, because they always do. So I thought I'd talk about stuff. But like when I talk about, you know, I'm in a good place. Like for myself, I just don't want anybody, you know, again, I don't want people that I care about having crazy people trying to derail them. That's the thing I worry about. For me, though, like I said, I'm stone on most things. Like I got a little emotional again. Kids subjects bother me sometimes. That's why I don't like covering. I didn't forever. Like this case, I would have had trouble covering a couple of years ago. I'd had a lot of trouble covering it. But I try not to. That's why a lot of times I won't post on things that happen with schools. You know, those horrible events, like on Twitter. I don't post about that stuff. But, you know, that's not that. But thank you. I do appreciate you. And I know, like, you folks are always good at, you know, we're not having therapy streams, like I said, you know, or anything like that. Like some people start using YouTube like as a therapy like a mechanism or replacement. That's no. But I do think, like, if you're being real about stuff, like Jeremy talks about everything in his life. There were certain things, though, that he had to bring up he didn't want to. He did, though. He talked about it briefly. You could tell it bothered him, too. I really felt for him in those moments. Like, when that stuff came up, I really did, because, you know, I could see a mirror in certain things that were going on with myself. And I really felt for him in those moments. Those things, you know, that's the ugliness to litigation, too. Basically, people will use that as a way, you know, part of litigation is character assassination. You see that in every single case you have. You know, going after the character of a person and trying to tear them down. And the way they do that, they don't stick to the things that are inside of a case. They tear apart at everything else in a person's life. That happens in the case itself. And outside of it, it gets even crazier. Shifter brains? When I say that, like, I can see, like I said, I think it's funny, because I have to be very cognizant of what I'm saying. Yeah, really, I like the name. I like it. Thanks for the Dan. Bruce doesn't understand that we listeners have our favorite content creators, that we go to listen to stories that interest us. Doesn't matter how many are covering same stories. He doesn't get it. Indeed. Like, that's the thing, too. Like, I'm talking about Jeremy Hale's videos and stuff. And when I talk about it, I'm interested because I'm watching what goes on, and I give my opinions on it. And there are many other people. And like you said, people can come back. We can come back to a video. We talked about the fish and wildlife thing. It showed up because, again, it's public interest, but also, yeah, we get together and we have fun all together. Sure, they'll never get it because they didn't build anything. Travis, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good, by the way, my friend. Thanks for finding. I grew up poor as hell, and one thing growing up sucked. Right holes in clothes, hand-me-down shit from cousins, but now we have a cattle ranch. Man, props to you, brother. Yeah, I know. I look at life here versus growing up. I look at my kids' life, and I'm proud of that as a parent, because they have never known the same type of struggles there, and I never want them to have that. I want them to appreciate things. That is one thing I try to walk in there, because, you know, I think growing up poor makes you appreciate. Like, there are certain things. One of the first things I found on, now I've splurged on items here and there, but I found an arcade 1-up. You know, those little arcade machines. You know, they're not full size, but they're throwbacks. And I found one that was the game Tempest. That's because when I was a kid, I could never play it because I couldn't afford it. And always wanted to be able to play that game. So it was one of those first things I was like, dude, I've got to have that. You know? And I explained some of that. My kids can't even understand that idea, but I'm kind of glad, you know. Deanna, thanks for the 10. We love you too. Bud, thank you. Thank you for everything you do for families. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Like when I talk about, you know, it does irritate me when these folks talk about therapy because they have no idea. They've never done that stuff. And for them to utilize that as I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. And I don't owe anybody nicety. I don't owe them anything. Because in my life, I'm in mental health. I'm supposed to somehow be this thing they like to project on you when you start talking about certain people, certain types of people. They're like, oh, you're there, fuck yourself. That always drives me nuts. Brenda, thanks 5. Much love, Tuck. Thank you. Appreciate that. Much love return too. Thank you. And Wanda, what's up, Wanda? How you doing? Thanks for the 2 there. We love you, Tuck. Hey, love return to you. Like I said, I really do. I appreciate all of you out there. You built this thing. I say that. Some people mime that. No, man, I appreciate it. I do. Lily, thanks for the 5. Another man arrested for self-defense in Massachusetts, trying to keep us from our basic rights. Viva streamed about it tonight. I'll have to check that out. I didn't see what happened with that. I'll have to check it out for sure. Angel, hey, what's up, Angel? Hey, thank you, by the way, for the gifted memberships too. Appreciate you. These are the 10. It's harassment and blackmail, and this is from a lawyer. Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? It is wild indeed. Marina, thanks for the 20 there. Pizza fun for the little ones. Yeah, you caught that. I want pizza when we go on. You know, she has certain ideas. Oh man, I get to have pizza while we're gone. Good time. Deanna, thanks for the 5. Life is about choices. It is. It is. And you know, the choices aren't just like if you make a bad choice or something. It's about making better choices. You don't have to become that thing. You know, that's the thing some people get confused in too. If you were at a certain place, you don't have to be that. Like when people see a self-reflection or introspection, you know, they have that moment. Yeah. Choices always. You're right, very much so. Niece, thanks for the 20 there. For the girls to spend on vacation. Have a great time. Thank you. Great daddy for them. You give them love and put them first. They'll remember those times. Yeah, my daughter gave me a card the other day. And it like hit me in my feels. I was like, oh man, you know, telling me about like, you know, you're the best dad. I appreciate you. I was like, man, right in the feels. Just a random one too. Not a birthday, not just random. Love it. Colton, thanks for the 2. Love you, Tugster and Megan. You're both the best. Thank you, man. Thank you, buddy. Deirdre, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Doug's Thugs. Appreciate that. Lee, thanks for the 5. I'm a she, but this is toward your pending lawsuit fee. Well, if we ever get to that, I will put up a GoFundMe. Like I said, eventually I will. You know, some people are like, no. You know, I'm not eating shit for that guy. You know, I will ask for help with it. We'd cover everything on it, of course. But yeah. Oh man, these crazy people, man. It's so weird. It's a bizarre world. Like YouTube is such a weird place. Brandis, thanks for the 5. Megan butchers my last name, so no worries. I don't even try. Like I don't try last names. You notice that a lot of times. I'll butcher your first name, and that's far enough. Thank you for not getting offended when I informed you of correct pronunciation. No, if I get your name wrong, I'm not guaranteed. Like I won't get it wrong again, but I'm 100%. I know. I make a joke about it. I'm so bad with names. Jax, thanks for the super chat there. Trademark your name, Tug, but charge people for using your name. There you go. That's funny. Angie thinks so too. 2 slugs just donked you in Jeremy Hills just now. Like I said, that I'm not surprised. That kind of stuff gets your channels removed. You know that, right? I mean, you break up. Oh, I got a kid coming. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What you doing again?
What? Who says something?
Yeah, you see my chat? Yeah. They were saying, hi, how you doing?
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. There. Hey, you need to go lay down for real, though. Are you going on vacation tomorrow?
Yep, I want too much sex.
No, well, like I said, I'll get that in just a minute, okay? We'll talk about that. All right, but you've got to get some rest because we got a big day tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. All right, love you. Love you. Yes, ma'am. It's funny. She, when she was really little, she would say yes, ma'am to me and her mom. You know, and that's one. She says yes, sir, to anyone else, but I'm still a yes, ma'am. I'm like, okay, it's cute. I like it. You know, it's one thing that I don't actually want to correct. Rick, thanks for doing. Cry like a deuce. Like a deuce. Oh. Lily, thanks for 2. That's why disposal is must. Never fess up. It's just, Lord. Doxers and more. That's what they've become. Like I said, that's how you lose channels right there. You know, they start putting up addresses or pictures of homes or, oh my God, you know. They make it about, like I said, they get so mad because somebody talks about how they sound like Grimace or something else that they're like, oh my God, I gotta dox you. Gotta dox you. Fucking losers, man. Small people. But they'll always be small people. Right now, they'll attract a certain element. What's fascinating about that, too, is they'll attract a certain element. And that element will turn on them eventually. It will. They'll applaud them, and then when they get bored one day, they'll go through their entire lives, and they'll dox them too, and they'll tear their lives apart. I've seen it over and over again. They attract that crowd, and that crowd loves chaos. And that's what they're appealing to, but they don't see it because, you know, they say people are, they're doing all these negatives and this crazy. But I mean, really? How's that work out? But anyway, yeah, they accuse people of exactly what they do. Exactly. But anyway, I'm going to call it here. I've been going for a little bit. 3 hours there. But I appreciate it. Well, doxing is against YouTube's TOS. That is. It is indeed. But hey. Okay, I'm going to end with the intro song. And then I'm going to go get stuff ready. Then I'm going to rest. And like I said, I may broadcast tomorrow. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. You know, with everybody, once we get there, I take my computer with me and everything, but I don't know how my schedule will look. But I like live streaming. So, anyway, I'm going to lead you out with a song. Appreciate you.
That umbrella guy is back. Getting extortion letters from a wannabe lawyer. Extorting his social betters. Crying, don't laugh at me or you know what I'll do. I'll sue. Yeah, sue. And sue, no really, I'll sue. I heard you the first, second, and fifth time. So you hate Legos and thumbnails and names being used. Unless you say it's okay, then it's relevant news. You demanded coverage as a fan, but only your way. Then your panties twisted when I didn't mind what you say. Then you went online and said the unspoken part aloud about the bar and your image. Oopsie, aren't you proud? And I get we didn't love, and you're really mad. But remember, on this hat rack, I'm not your dad. I don't owe you respect or coverage or applause or shouts. And if that triggers your box, I guess you found out. You're like a bitter ex-girlfriend that just won't take no. So listen up, baby, you can't get on my show. And defamation, please, for insulting your skills. I wouldn't let you open my kids' Happy Meals. That's right, that's right. saying you don't have the skills of a grocery checker, because I respect grocery checkers. But any dog can chase an ambulance and bark at passing cars. You didn't get your way, so you thrash about like a petulant child. But again, I'm not your dad.